Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Feed the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, August 11th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We will be capping NFL today. We got 2 games on the board, 4 CFL games, 8 MLB games, including the Field of Dream games. And we have huge NFL announcements that we're so close to making. Huge NFL and NCAA football announcements. Bigger NFL, really, because we've got something in place where we're going to be competing with each other for enormous amounts of cash, which is really, really fun. And we've got new shows, brand new shows, very different than last year. We're doing things differently this football season than last year. Our NFL shows are different. Other than Sunday Pub Hub will stay the same. That's the only thing that will stay the same. And also, to give you another idea of what we're doing, we're going to have a real focus on live betting, football, action here. The bottle of Kraken and an account full of cash and see what we can all do together. A real focus on that this year. But we're just trying to make sure that everything is fucking straight and the fucking I's are dotted and the T's are fucking slashed before we announce everything. So that's, we're very, very excited about that. Yesterday, I got caught up. I had to deal with some shit here, some family stuff I had to deal with right after the show. And I didn't wait for the Giants-Padres lineup to come out to bet the over. And I was all over it. It was my favorite look on the card, and I didn't even bet it like some sort of fucking chump. The game started, and I was driving. I was like, oh God! I just got caught up with bullshit, and so that cost me. The capping yesterday was really strong. I know you guys will laugh at my Tigers first 5, which lost, but it was 3-2 fucking Guardians in the bottom of the 5th, and Tigers had runners on 1st and 3rd, and no out. And you'd think maybe we'd be in business. We were not. And that was upsetting. Brewers first 5 -0.5. We're up 2-0 after the first inning. You got a stud pitcher on the mound. You think you get home. That ended up 2-2. So there were 2 losses. Still had a winning day. Marlins first 5 +100. Look, I don't care. I don't care if the Sharps are on the Phillies or the Marlins are a public dog. If you're going to get the Cy Young Award winner, first 5 for plus money, you have to bet it and sit back and count cash. Who cares about Sharp or fucking Public or anything? That's just a gift. Marlins first 5 +100 cash. Tigers first 5 +150 lost. Chicago White Sox, KC Royals first 5 under 4.5 cashed. Full game under 8.5 did not, but Royals first 5 at +115 cashed. Boo bitch, baby. Fucking boo bitch. Brewers first 5 -0.5 lost, and then the Washington Cubs first 5 under 4 was a winner. And this is back-to-back shows that Sharpie's been joining us, where his breakdown opened up a very easy casher. His pitcher breakdown, Josiah Gray, against Steele, it was a very easy first 5 under, and it was low, under 4, and it was simple. So 4 and 3. Because of the Royals at +115 for the first time, it balanced off the Brewers first 5 -0.5 at -115. So we went 4 and 3 +1 unit. So we're up plus 5.7 units, which interestingly enough is my same unit success in CFL. So one, we have 37 bets. The other, we have 443. but both sports in the black. It's a good feeling. We're seeing things clearly. Obviously, we want to be richer, but that should happen. Sammy Culmer in the house says tennis action all 1 unit. He's got them on Fields to start it all off. There's his tennis action. Some plus money prices in there for our guy, Sammy Culmer, in The House Armchair MMA says, what up, boys? I tried raising my unit size and it fucked me. Still positive on the bankroll, but through a lot of hard work over the last 2 days. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole goal is to raise your unit size. I think, though, it should be really in pretty small increments. It's probably the best way to do it. But that's the whole goal. So don't beat yourself up for that happening. Don't let it get in your head. There's our guy, Big Show Picks in the house. Jedi for life, J-Dub, Matty Ice. God, 5 runs in the first inning on Taint's way to cash. That's gorgeous. There's LJ, a $500 best bet, Cardinals money line, taking the day off to regroup for Cash It Friday. I like it. Also, we have Cash It Fridays, of course, tomorrow, starting at 8 p.m. But then Razor, him and the boys picked up $20K on pick sixes last few days. He's going to take the family to the beach for the week, and as he should, a successful capper should only focus on their unit size and use other funds to take your family on vacation. Or you could break off some of your fucking hard-earned capping glory on your family. It's up to you. I keep my shit separate, But that's another story. But next Friday, I'm going to be taking over for Razor for Catch It Friday. So we will be attacking Delmar, and I want to start earlier. There's just Delmar's too glorious. Huge fields this year. So I think we'll start maybe 5:30, probably 5:30, 5:45, something like that. But this Friday, I'm going to be on the show as well. I'm going to hit Delmar. I'm going to get on tomorrow night around 10 or so. Maybe a little earlier. And sorry, did I say Delmar? I meant Emerald Downs. Emerald Downs, 10 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights is when it pops off. Friday night racing in a C track. Doesn't get better than that shit. Congrats, LJ from H-Town. There's our guy B-Lab in the house. Johnny Gunn says, love you, Jimmy and Bobano. Let's break the books again today. Yes, Bobano, a rare Thursday night appearance. And then we're going to have the Big Ragu on Friday. There's our guy, Fat Wally, in the house. We love you, Wally. And the Taint play today is in. The Taint play of the day is in. Let me get to my copy and pasting. Here, copy and paste this. When are we doing NFL? I just saw that, Johnny K. We're doing it after CFL. So CFL is starting. AJ saying can't wait for the NFL season. Matty Ice, 5 runs in the first. Also, Votto props. He's very excited. He's very excited to be in the Field of Dreams game. That is our final game that we will be breaking down today. The Taint play today is there. It's on the Cincinnati Reds. Low. There's Jarek White ready to go. Viper MB, AJ, Jeffrey Moore, 3-3. Yesterday had under 9 Royals game. Was looking good till the 8th inning. Yeah. First 5s are just safer. I was with you. I doubled up on that spot. But first 5s are just safer. Rodney Barton ready to go. Saturated says Cleveland took first place last night too. I do not expect that to last, but it's not like the White Sox are going to be changing things, although it is Cease Day today, so you can imagine that they will win. I don't remember the last time Cease was part of a loss. Jeffrey Moore says, as well as Yankees team total over 3.5. These second half lines are so tight. Look, everybody talking about that. All the professional gamblers, second half lines are so tight and all this shit. And we're winning at an alarming rate here on the show. So let's just keep focusing on what we're doing and don't let any of that bullshit rhetoric get into our head. And it's not all bullshit. Obviously, lines get tighter as the season goes on, but look at our winning percentage here since the All-Star break. It's massive. So let's not get too caught up into it. Stella Girl says, live betting NFL so fucking profitable. Love it. Stella Girl, I can't wait to announce what we have for live betting action that we will be hammering all together. We're trying to figure out a way, though, so that when we make a live bet here, we can pop it up on the screen. We're working on that, but I can't fucking wait. And I get to be a big part of it, which I'm really excited about. Very, 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 very excited. We're very excited. And I think it'll be a huge money-making opportunity for all of us. Working together, live betting a game, all game long, from start to finish. I think it's going to be really fun. And unfortunately for my family, I'm going to be caught up then from 8 till 11:30 on Sundays and Mondays for me with you guys. And I'm very excited about it. My liver probably not so much. Slatsy 5-0 MLB. Pavetta cash train keeps going. And look, I know that you despise Pavetta, but he didn't pitch that badly yesterday. Not despise. That's not the right word. You probably love him because he puts money in your pocket. But hit Cleveland, and thanks to Sharpie for the K prop on Walker. Today, double up on Cease and the White Sox first 5 in run line on Winnipeg money line and over parlay at plus 127. Interesting. There's our guy Ick Schnizzle. Now, Ick Schnizzle, I caught your message. I got you. Let me just tell you, I got you. I'll get back to you in the afternoon today, but I got you. Joey Marinaccio says CFL line is tumbling. It is in 9 the last time I looked. 9 the last time I looked. No Wit Jr. for KC. Let's eat, says Matty Ice. Interesting that the market had not moved at all on that spot. I've only moved on one spot myself. That's the first 5 under 4 in the Pirates Diamondbacks game at plus 105. It's the only thing I've done. No run first inning. Matty Ice looking at that. Dabby Cab also on White Sox first 5 minus a half. Houston team total over 5. Arizona first 5 minus a half. I'm interested to see what JT Brubaker does here. Oh, look at that. Fireside, a 9-teamer yesterday. 8-unit day. Sandy first 5. Oh, gorgeous. Rangers team total over 2.5. Mets team total over 5. And Walker. Okay, so I love that. I love all that. Let's get Dabby Cab's action here. Thank you for sharing with that with us. Dabra. Cadabra, my guy. So let's just get that under baseball. So we're going to start with CFL. We're going to get into NFL. And then we are going to beat up MLB. Giants money line for Robert Franklin. I do have where the cash is, but, we have 2 very public spots here. With Dabble's first head coaching foray for the Giants. He's already said in the press that he's, everybody who's healthy is going to get out there and get some reps, and he cares about the reps. And, we've all seen what's happened to that fucking franchise over the last 4 years, how bad they've been in Septembers and things of that sort. So I get it. I've not moved on either of those spots, but Dabby Cab says, how about you start on the sesh, then switch over? We can't start at 7 because, or even 6:45. I don't know what to do, but we'll talk. We will figure that out all together. Saturated says I've hit 6, and that's not this Friday. That's a week Friday. Saturated says I've hit 6 4-leggers in the last 2 days. I love it, Saturated. All right, it's time to get to work. Yes, Johnny K, finally NFL back. We're going to do that. And the Taint play of the day record, 72, 50, and 159%. Going to get that 60+ for the low baggers. Gas report. Ravens are 20-0. 20-0 since 2016. And that's 18-2 against the spread. But, Vrabel cares. So we'll talk all about all these things. We will talk all about that. Mark Tequila, I've not placed NFL futures yet. And for the past 3 years or so, even though the NHL futures were so glorious and the NBA futures were pretty good, I've been trying to cut down my futures. Cut down. One thing when you deal with credit is you think that you can just fire any future off that you want. And after the glory of the Pittsburgh Penguins Stanley Cup champion, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, I've struggled until this year. So that's why I was trying to cut everything down. All right, great to see all you guys. There's the Sweaty Butcher in the house. Everybody ready to rock here. Yankees in the tailspin. I don't think it matters that much. Will the Packers go 10-0 like last year? We have Aaron Rodgers fresh off a ayahuasca trip. He said he felt his ancestors' hands all over his body. I'm not sure if I'm quoting that right, but if I am, Trenton Claxton, Matty Ice. We've got a great group. Red Girl. Nufflush says, stop thinking of how second half lines are tight and start taking the right on the team totals with me. Yeah, perfect. Beautifully put. I'll talk to you about all that stuff, Vic Schnizzle. I've got a Logitech here, and Logitech's the right company for us to work with. But I'll get you the right one. We'll go over all of that. Chief, Christopher Comatini, everybody ready to go? Alex Gagnon says, what's the best team total for today? And look at that nice little 33-15 run that started right before the All-Star break. I love that. Cadabra. Okay, it's time to get to work. Thank you guys all for joining us. Trent Claxton, both NFL games over, and WNBA Vegas money line. Very interesting. Well, let's get right to work. We have the perfect man for our first 6-game football slate in a long time. Since, I guess, 6-game NFL slate would be since God, the divisions. We're talking like what, January 16th. Let's welcome the man from Steeltown in Canada, Hamilton, Ontario. Please welcome to the show, Ian Cameron in the house. Ian, how are you, my man?
Good, Jimmy. Good to make it work here on a Thursday that I could be here instead of Friday just for this week. So yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, we've got CFL, we've got the NFL preseason really getting going in full this week. I know we had the Hall of Fame game last week, but this is really the real deal. You've got a full preseason slate: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday games, and of course MLB. So it's a good day.
It is a good day. Let's get right to work in the Canadian gridiron. Thursday, August 11th, this very evening, the Montreal Alouettes 2-6, 1-4 on the road at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 9-0, 3-0 at home. We're at IG Field in Winnipeg, Manitoba. A big market move this morning to the Montreal Alouettes. Big one. Now, this opened on Tuesday at 2:29 a.m. with the Bombers as 13-point favorites. That lasted for 7 hours, down at 12. A few hours after that, 11.5. Just 45 minutes after that, 11. Then it bounced back up to 11.5, then to 11. And then this morning at 9:35 Eastern, a huge 2-point move towards the Alouettes, now 9-point favorites. The total has not moved, sat at 48.5 and has done nothing. Sideshow, nice to see you. Billy Brisbane in the house says Ravens 20-0 straight up in the preseason since 2015. How do you not back the truck up for that spot? We will talk, and I'm looking forward to talking about that. But we're starting with CFL here. Bombers are the first team to start a season with 9 straight wins since the 05 BC Lions. And the total has gone under in all 3 Bombers home games this year. It's amazing to think that they're 9-0 without a bye. Other teams have had 2 byes. They've only had 3 games at home. They faced Montreal last week, and the final score was 35-20. Their fourth quarter ability is unbelievable this year because this game was a lot closer than the score indicates. The Alouette defense was playing really well, picked off Bombers 3 times, had 3 sacks. It was 14-14 going into the fourth quarter. It was 7-3 after the first half, and we were on the first half under 23.5. It was glorious. Trevor Harris was held to just 16 of 26 passing for 127 yards. Dominique Davis came in for a meaningless fourth quarter touchdown. The monsters of the Bomber defense, Big Hill and Jeff Coat, did not practice on Monday. List is questionable. We expect them all to be ready to go. The Alouettes with Machocha do not look good. They don't look good in fourth quarters. They have not covered 4 of their last 5 games, and now they have a ton of injuries. We expect I'd like to maybe you have a better idea of who is going to be in for the Alouettes, but Chandler Worthy,
He's out.
He's out. Okay. Receiver
Chris
Eugene
Hackey, the linebacker, is out. So they've got him out. They did have worries about 2 other starters in the secondary being out, including
Najee Murray and Wes Sutton.
Yeah, Wes, they're both in. So
they're both in.
That's the good news. Yeah.
And Eugene Lewis in.
He's in. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. All right. Take it away here, Bobano, Alouettes, Blue Bombers.
There's really not much to say. I mean, I'm not really that involved in this game at all. That's the problem with Montreal. Look, there's reasons to bet against Winnipeg, and I see what some people are seeing in terms of the spot. All right, Winnipeg's undefeated. They just beat this team last week. They were really in a tight game until the fourth quarter, and you really got Winnipeg's C- D+ game, honestly, last week against Montreal. I don't think they played that well for 3 quarters, but all they need is one really good quarter, and then all of a sudden, bam, they can just dominate, take over, and win going away. That's exactly what happened. Their offense and Calaro started to roll. The defense got a pick 6. They had another kick return touchdown. And next thing you know, they're leading comfortably by double digits, and they win and cover yet again. That's all it takes for Winnipeg. They play one good quarter, they can just annihilate a team. And that's what we saw last week. But now you come home, you're playing a team you just beat from the other division. You got a bye week next week. I mean, this does have a potential for a mental kind of checkout, if you will, for Winnipeg, kind of. I don't know if it'll happen, but I could see them kind of coasting a little bit in this football game. And for Montreal, they have been good in the road underdog role. They have been good getting big points on the road. So there are reasons to like Montreal with this number of points. But I don't know if I can come to grips with doing it, because at the end of the day, we could see something very similar to last week. Winnipeg with the one good quarter puts the game away. Montreal with defensive breakdowns. Montreal with an offensive line that's been shaky, going up against a Winnipeg defensive front that, from all indications, Winnipeg, they did have some concerns with the defensive side of the football from an injury standpoint going into this game. But I think when you look at it, it's going to end up being a team that's a lot healthier than you would think going into this game. I mean, Greg Ellingson didn't play last week, one of their best receivers. He's back. So all of a sudden, you've got a receiving core with Rasheed Bailey, Dalton Schoen, who's been a revelation this year in his rookie year. He's been outstanding. Nick Dembski's healthy now. You have Greg Ellingson back. Suddenly all kinds of weapons for Zach Collaros to work with. As far as the defense is concerned, Jackson Jeffcoat's back. So you've got the Jefferson-Jeffcoat bookend at the defensive end spot. So the pass rush and the edge rush is going to be there. There was worry that Adam Bighill wouldn't play. He's starting tonight. He's in there for the Bombers. So this is actually as healthy as the Bombers have been, in a few weeks, both sides of the football. And I just worry that Montreal can't match up with that. I really can't. I have trouble believing they can for 4 quarters. If we get Winnipeg, locked in, sharp, on their toes, focused. If that's the case, then this number, now that it's drifted to single digits, actually maybe a little bit short on Winnipeg. But I think it's a tricky game just because of Winnipeg going into the bye. They're rolling. They could be already on holiday mode, if you will. And I'm sure they're looking forward to it because they're the one team in the CFL, I don't think, that's had a bye week yet this year, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, it's a tricky spot. I worry for 60 minutes if this team's really locked in, considering they already beat this team last week. So I understand the spot to take Montreal, but I think there's a huge gap between these two teams. Huge. I mean, Montreal just kills themselves with turnovers, breakdowns defensively. I don't love the O-line play. I think Trevor Harris has gotten worse, not better, the last 2 weeks. And the penalties. The penalties keep on plaguing this team. Every week, more penalties, bad ones after the whistle, pass interference penalties, just costly penalties that just ruin your momentum. And they have not gotten that out of their system. Are we still okay with blaming Kahari Jones for the lack of discipline on this football team? I think we can shut the hell up with that nonsense. Obviously, it's still a problem with Danny Machocha. So it's a pass for me. It's a long way of saying I'm probably not going to get involved. I do lean a little bit to the over, though. I mean, because you saw that game go over last week. You saw both teams struggle offensively for much of that game, and yet it still found its way over the total. I do think we'll see better offense from both teams, especially Winnipeg now. Ellingson back. They got all their receivers back. It's going to be a challenge for this Montreal secondary tonight.
Yeah, I think the market move here has opened up a couple opportunities. The Alouettes team total under, I have interest in. I would much rather have the first half team total under, but that's not available for me to bet. It is available at some books, and they will open up a few more bets a little bit later in the day. But I don't know why really. I don't know why really there's an expectation for a ton of points here. I can understand Winnipeg being more successful here, but I mean that was just a clear under last week that soared over with just nonsense in the last few minutes of the game. Big shout out to Sideshow. Happy birthday, Sideshow. Great to have you guys rolling with us. There's Gary Tenebra as well. Sideshow spending his birthday morning here with us. Rodney Barton says, could Zach Collaros under passing yards be a look? I don't think so, personally. We talked about Ellingson being back, and I think the Bombers are just a focused squad this year. The last time we saw a big move from a dog was when the Elks went down to single digits in BC, and they got absolutely destroyed. I like an Alouette team total under, but I like an Alouette team total under.
I think that is a good look. I actually think that is not a bad look because Winnipeg's defense, we know, and now they've got their look. Montreal's O-line has had serious issues the last couple weeks, and now that Winnipeg defensive front we know is going to be fully healthy. They've got Jackson Jeffcoat, they've got Willie Jefferson, both in tonight. So that pass rush duo is going to be a problem for the Montreal starting tackles tonight. That's number one. Number two is the fact that Adam Bighill's playing. And there was concern they might be up without him for this game. So it's all hands on deck now. Winnipeg's defense, they've got all their key guys on the field for this game tonight. Montreal team total, by the way, is 18.5. And I do want to point out they gave up 19 points at home against Calgary in one of their previous home games, and just 12 points to Hamilton, and then 17 points to Ottawa. So they have not allowed more than 20 points in any home game this year, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And let's be honest, the one team that scored more than 18.5 points against Winnipeg on this field was Calgary. All right. Calgary's a whole hell of a lot better offensive team, I think, than Montreal. Well, at least quarterback wise, I think a little bit better. So I could make a case for under 18.5 for Montreal.
And this was 17.5, heavily juiced to the under 2 hours ago. Now it's 18.5 at a pick'em. Charles B says Montreal and under. Look, if Kari was the coach and Baron Miles was the defensive coordinator, I'd be right with you. But that snake Machocha coming in and usurping the position of two qualified gentlemen who had big careers in the CFL is well, he'll never take us. I will never bet on that fucking snake, man.
Well, I'm now in the position now where I gave Machocha a chance for a couple of weeks. The more I watch, the more I'm disgusted. All right, the lack of preparation, the lack of discipline. Has this guy won a challenge? Yeah, he's thrown a bunch of challenge flags since he's become head coach. I don't think he's won one of them. I think he's lost every single challenge he's thrown so far since he's become head coach. So I think the game is lost. He's lost it, in terms of his feel for the Canadian football game, honestly. And I know he had success with the Montreal Carabins in the CIS a few years ago. And, of course, he won the Grey Cup with the Edmonton, as they were called then, the Eskimos in the early 2000s with Ricky Ray. I get all that. But right now, this ain't Danny Machocha that's helping you right now.
Well, another thing that's happening, and I think there's going to be buyback on the Bombers. I think what happened with the Elks and Lions is fresh in everyone's memory. But now the Bombers' first half is -5. That's appealing. That is a very appealing look for me. So I do have some concern of what will happen late in the game with this big of a spread. So I wasn't sure what I would do with this game, in all honesty, before we talked about it. But now I think the Bombers' first half and the Alouettes team total under 18.5. I would prefer a first half team total for them, but I'll take the full game. Is appealing. And I questioned whether the Bombers were going to put any care and effort into last week's game. This week, I think I can get it. You bust your ass, and then you have your bye week. Let's go 10-0. Bust your fucking ass out there. Let's beat them by 25 points. But if you look at the way the Alouettes defense held strong against the Bombers, I can understand why people think 13 is too many. So we'll see if Bobano wants to add something, if he resonates, if marinates in this game for a little bit. But it looks like now I will have two bets here: Alouettes team total under 18.5, and the Bombers first half minus.
Sure as hell can't bet Montreal now. If you missed 13, if you missed 12, if you missed 11, if you missed the 10, and now you're betting Montreal, don't. I mean, win or lose, that's a bad bet long term.
Let's move on to Friday, August 12th. Your breakdown of the Argonauts Ticats game last week here at BMO Field was spot on. It was really strong, and the game was absolutely wild. The Ticats looked like they were in complete control. And what happened in the fourth quarter, a block punt return for a touchdown, an interception return for a touchdown, giving the Argos a 34-20 victory, is pretty tricky to really quantify in this spot here at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, Ontario. Also, we have news that Dane Evans is not doubtful. So Dane Evans looking like he's not going to play. All week I thought he was going to play, but now it looks like he is not going to play. And Braylon Addison, Achilles, is done for the season. There's a lot of concern over in Hamilton. McLeod, Bethel Thompson, Andrew Harris is doing nothing for the Argos. Absolutely nothing. He ran for 47 yards on 14 carries, a long of 9 yards. Bethel Thompson's having to do a lot of the work, and he's not really doing it. And we know that this Ticats defense is very strong. Their offense, too, by the way, they're putting up 353.8 yards per game. That's third in the league. They just can't score for whatever reason. And we'll see if that changes with Matt Schultz behind center. Andrew Harris, full participant. He's going to be able to go. Brandon Banks had a personal matter. He's returned to practice. Defensive end Shaq Richardson and receiver Eric Rogers are questionable. They've not been participating in practice this week. Let's take a look at the spread here. Again, for those of you watching right now, a couple more games of CFL, then we go into NFL. But let me pull up the line movement here quickly. Sorry, let me move this over. And the line movement for this one, and we expect a ton more line movement now that Evans has been announced doubtful. Since he's been announced doubtful, there's only been 1 point swing. It opened at 2. It's now Hamilton at -1. So I guess I'm really interested to hear your breakdown here. And it's gone up a half point from 46 to 46.5 is the total. Take it away, Bobano.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ticats first half. That's the obvious bet here. Even with Matt Schultz, an ice cold Schultz. He's going to get the starter here on Friday night. It's Ticats first half. 4-0 ATS they are. It's at home in the first half. They play good early in the games. They're ready to go, and then they fall apart. That's been their characteristics this year. I don't think it'll change here. And look, they're coming off the loss against Toronto, so I expect them to be well locked in and well prepared early in the game. I don't mind Schultz, to be honest with you. It's not been a phenomenal season for Dane Evans. And, they've worked Schultz enough into this offense here in the first several weeks of the season. They've given him drives. They've given him multiple full possessions, on offense this year. So it's not like he hasn't had a snap or hasn't seen the field at all. He got all the first team practice reps this week leading up to this game. So definitely I think he'll have a good first half. I think they'll put some creative play calling in. I know that's saying a lot because Tommy Condell is getting excoriated here for his play calling. Not a lot of happy Ticat fans about the way he's called plays this year. But I think in the first half, we know he's mobile. We know he's athletic. We know he can run with the football. I think you put in some wildcat type formations with him, allow him to run with it, give him some easier throws, rely on Don Jackson, your running back. There are things you can do with Matt Schultz at quarterback to make the offense successful, and rely on a defense that, has been playing really good the last couple of weeks, unfortunately, until I would say late in the fourth quarter against Toronto, where all of a sudden the defense was kind of leaking a bit. But no, I think back home they'll play much better on the defensive side of the football. This defense is as healthy as they've been all year. I like what I'm seeing from the defensive front with Dylan Wynn and Julian Hauser. I love what I'm seeing from the secondary now that they've got Carriel Brooks, Richard Leonard, Tunde Adeleke. They've got all their big-time defensive backs healthy and on the field. Back home after a very disheartening second-half performance, one of many that the Ticats have had this year. I think they'll play better. I think they'll win, but I'm not trusting Hamilton full game right now. I'm just not doing it. I've seen this too much. They blow it against Calgary at home. They blow it against Edmonton at home. They had a halftime double-digit lead in both games. Also a halftime double-digit lead against Ottawa at home, and they nearly lost that game as well. It's just the second half has been we've now seen it 4 or 5 times at least, and most of them at home. And even last week against Toronto, Hamilton's just not a second half team, and they've shown me no reason to believe they can be a second half team until proven otherwise. So this is just 4-0 ATS at home in the first half. Sign me up with that. Hamilton first half, which is, I believe, money line -110 right now.
-110, yes. Bobano, you are in. I think that Schultz has watched everything that Dane Evans has done wrong, and that is focused on his inability to keep the ball in his receivers' hands. It's interceptions, and Schultz knows how strong this defense is. I think Schultz is going to prepare a very conservative game and not take risks, the risks that he's watched Dane Evans make, which to me says that the under would be in play.
That was another game that was sailing under for most of the game, Argos Ticats, and then just a second half explosion of points. It was. Yep.
So I think that the under's in play, but maybe the better bet is the Argos team total under. But I agree. I think that we've seen what this Ticats defense is capable of, and we saw what they did to BC. And if you saw Nathan Rourke go 34 for 37 last week against the Elks for 477 yards, you have a better respect for what the Ticats defense did in BC Place. So I think the Argos team total under and the full game under, because I really think that Schultz is thinking, I can't have the turnovers that Dane Evans is having. I think that's the main focus on my mind. So I think that I've added 2 spots there that I'm going to attack. The team total right now is 20.
And a lot of shakeup in the wide receiving core for Hamilton as well. Braylon Addison, their number 1 receiver, is out for the season. That horrible injury he suffered, non-contact injury during that game. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, non-contact, this is bad. And sure enough, torn Achilles, and he's out for the season. So you got to replace that. You've got a couple other receivers banged up. So, this does feel like it could stay under. I agree.
We have 2 more games in the CFL before we go over to the NFL. Unfortunately, Charles B we're on different sides of both games. Not something that makes me comfortable. He likes the over in this one. G. Martinez says Ian's French referee impression is hilarious. He has to bust out again sometime. We do have a question for you from Hoops 590. He asks you, Bobano, what is an Alouette?
Okay, so that team was named the Alouettes based on, everybody knows the Alouette, the Jante Alouette. Everybody knows that song. It was partially named after that. Part of it was there was a Royal Canadian Air Force squadron pilot, the first ever, everybody knows the Royal Canadian Air Force, of course. The first ever French Canadian squadron fighter pilot, or fighter jet, I should say, was, basically named the Alouette. That was the nickname of that jet. It was way back in the day. You're talking early 1900s. And that is why they ended up being called the Alouettes. It was a tribute to that first ever Royal Canadian Air Force fighter jet called the Alouette. There you go. I know people ask that all the time. That is actually the real historical or origin of that team's name.
Little heritage moment for you guys right there. A little heritage moment for you right there. All right. Okay. Let's go. Saturday, August 13th. BC Lions 6-1, 2-0 on the road at the Calgary Stampeders, 5-2, 2-1 at home. We're at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, Alberta. Calgary 5-2. These Leos 6-1. Wow. Nate Rourke broke his own record for most passing yards in the game by a Canadian quarterback. We did do the sad history of Canadian quarterbacks here on the show. It's Russ Jackson, and it's nobody else. Nate Rourke is the real deal. He leads the CFL in passing yards, 2,418, touchdowns, 21, completion percentage, 81.3%. Lucky Whitehead, and I know a lot of you who follow the NFL closely remember him in a different position. He's now a star wide receiver up here, 148 yards and a touchdown. Dominique Grimes, 91 yards and 3 touchdowns. And you've talked about the importance of Brian Burnham. He came back and, 82 yards and a touchdown, and takes pressure off of the top 2 receivers. Lions averaged 36.3 points per game, and their defense is so much better than I imagined them to be. 19.3 points per game. They're also allowing just 1,433 yards through the air, which is impressive if you realize that they've been ahead in a lot of their games when they're forcing the other offense to air the ball out. Calgary was very impressive, and shout out to Rod Zawacki, who was all over Calgary last week. No Dave Dickinson because of COVID. Multiple starters out due to injury, and they took care of business. And it was a lot of it you can blame the Red Blacks for, because Bo Levi Mitchell was just 13-27 for 137 yards. He's 1 yard short of becoming Calgary's all-time passing leader. Trey Robertson is done for the season. Star defensive back done for the season. He's a big piece of their puzzle. Let's just quick a look at this line history here, and we will hear what Bobano has to say. We have the Lions opening up as 1-point dogs. They became 1.5-point favorites. That was it until this morning. A 1.5-point move to the Lions, now 3-point favorites in a game that's crucial to the Western, who's going to have the home field advantage in the playoffs. Wow, this is wild. So now the BC Lions are 3-point road favorites. This totals up to 53.5. Bobano, take it away.
Yeah, it's a combination of BC's damn good as to why this line's moved the way it is, and Calgary's injury riddled at the moment. And look, Kadeem Carey was very limited at practice. There's a chance he's out again. Malik Henry didn't practice this week. They've got a key offensive lineman, Julian Good-Jones, hasn't practiced this week. Jameer Thurman, one of their top linebackers, hasn't practiced yet this week. And, of course, the big one is Trey Roberson. You mentioned him, the best cornerback, all-star cornerback in 2019. He's been probably the best secondary player for Calgary the last few years. He's out for this game, obviously, and the rest of the season. I can't think of a worse time or a worse opponent to miss your first game for this season-ending absence than this game against BC, with what the Lions are doing in the passing game right now. I worry about that for Calgary. And when you look at Calgary's defense, yes, they shut down Caleb Evans in Ottawa last week. They were, very impressive. But I don't think that was all Calgary's defense playing great. I mean, Ottawa offense was pathetic. All right, to Caleb Evans, for as good as he was against Toronto, that's why he's was a backup quarterback coming into this season. He was just every bit as awful against Calgary as he was good against Toronto. I mean, the missed throws, wide open receivers, he's missing them. Overshoots, underthrown balls, a couple drop passes as well by Ottawa receivers. Ottawa really helped out Calgary's defense quite a bit with some mistakes and just some really shoddy quarterback play. When you look at Calgary's defense, when they've played a good offense this year and a good quarterback, they really have had a tough time. I remember the Ticats, Dane Evans in the first half against Calgary went up and down the field, against that Calgary defense. 2 games against Winnipeg and Zach Collaros, they gave up 61 points in the 2 games combined, over 30 points per game. And they couldn't stop the Winnipeg passing game. They couldn't stop Dalton Schoen. They couldn't stop any of the receivers. Well, now you don't have Trey Roberson. You're banged up. You got a couple other guys that are questionable in the secondary. You've got Jameer Thurman in the linebacking core questionable. You got your running back, Kadeem Carey, who you obviously were able to win without him last week. But I think it's going to be more important to have him here. You got all these guys out. The secondary is the biggest worry. You've got to try to defend the Lucky Whitehead, Brian Burnham, Dominique Rhymes trio at receiver for BC without your best corner. I mean, that's a tough ask, in my opinion, for the Calgary Stampeders here in this game. And if you look at Bo Levi Mitchell last week, Jimmy, I know we lost with Ottawa. If Ottawa plays any kind of decent offensive game last week, they probably win and cover. I didn't think Bo Mitchell played good at all. I mean, the offense did nothing for the first half, and it's just that Ottawa did less than nothing. That was the difference. And eventually Calgary did enough. They possessed the ball. They had long time consuming drives. They put a couple of field goals on the board. The one touchdown was a pick 6 thrown by Caleb Evans. So the Calgary offense was stagnant in that game last week against Ottawa, even though they won that game by a score of 17-3. He's going to have to play a lot better. He's still got issues right now, Bo Levi Mitchell. He is not playing great. I think BC comes in here and they do what they did, Jimmy, against Saskatchewan a couple weeks ago. They go in and they make a statement. They say, we're for real. We're 6-1, about to be 7-1. Our only loss is to undefeated Winnipeg. Like, what more do we have to do to give this team a little respect? So, I was hoping BC would open the underdog. They did. I jumped on it right away. I jumped on it big right away. And this is my absolute best bet in week 10. BC, they roll.
We can only get you a -2.5 right now at -113. That's the best we can get you. But great breakdown. I get it. I have our producer, Jose Bouquet's been hard at work in the back. And he knows my disdain for Danny Machocha. And I'd like to see. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. There he is. Nice work with Danny Machocha. And he also has some heritage moment stuff for us, for our important heritage moments that we deliver here on the show. Let's see what he's got. Okay, well.
This is baseball in Canada.
We get the bonfire, eh? And then we get the darts, and then that's what we do up here in Canada, eh?
This is the game as we know it. This is baseball the Canadian way.
Oh, and then he plugs.
Oh, he plugs his bill out. Okay. You're on our time now, Jose.
Plugs his show at the end of it. It's so funny. Okay. Bobano's on the Lions -2.5, -113. But he got him at plus money when it first came out. That all makes sense to me.
I got money line -120. So look at the comparison now.
Wow.
What is it? -2.5 at what?
-113. That's
and I got money line at -120, like pretty much right when it opened.
It's -145 right now.
Yeah.
So, all right. Daryl Turner says Bobano's right, but he's not mentioning how good BC Lions secondary is. Well, we did talk about that because we talked about them allowing the least amount of yards in the league off the top. No, he says what I just watched. Nice to see you holding those. Saturated says I foresee an Emmy nomination in Balky's future. Okay, I get it. I get why you're on the Lions. I feel like I'm late to the party, so I'm not.
You know what? I forgot to mention. I like the over as well, 52.5. That will be official. -120 DraftKings over 52.5. The weather's going to be good, by the way, in Calgary. Sun,
It is, yeah.
warm, no wind issues. I think BC's. I just think this when Calgary's secondary hasn't been great all year. Now with no Roberson and these receivers, I think BC's going to get 35, even in Calgary, because we know they can put up points on the road. They've put up big points on the road against teams earlier this year. And I think Calgary's good enough they can score in the 20s. So I think that's the kind of score we're dealing with. 35, I think 35-27 maybe for BC. I don't know. I said BC will roll. I don't want to disrespect Calgary that much. I mean, they are still a capable team, no doubt, but I think BC will win. Yep.
Ron Crawford, CFL spreadsheet play of the day is the Lions. He got in a -1.5 from our Ron Crawford. Very interesting. I'm going to need more time with that game. We have one more game before we get into NFL, and that is Saturday night. Saskatchewan Roughriders, 4-4, 1-2 on the road at the Edmonton Elks, 2-6, 2-3 on the road. We're at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, Alberta. Rod Zawacki's talked often about how this is a must-fade situation. Edmonton at home. They haven't won in the friendly confines of Commonwealth since 2019. We have, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. We have the Roughriders opening up as 6-point favorites that quickly went to 5. It's stuck at 5.5. From a total perspective, it opened up at 48.5 and it's now sitting at 49. Yes, this is Saturday. We are breaking down CFL today. We're not touching it tomorrow. We are using Bobano to our best. We're going to leche Bobano as much as possible. The Roughriders come in off a much needed bye. Now, they still don't have Garrett Marino back. This will be his final game of his 4-game suspension for that dirty hit on Jeremiah Masoli, but this was a team that desperately needed to get healthier. They were last seen a 32-17 home loss versus the Lions that saw them leading 17-4 before the Lions put up 28 straight points, and I was sold watching the Lions in that game. They were very, very good. The Roughriders 4th in the CFL in defense, giving up 24 points per game, and that's a lot for a Roughriders team that we think is extremely strong defensively. They've dealt with a ton of injuries on their defensive front, and obviously losing Marino is hurt. The Elks cut 11 players over their bye week 2 weeks ago, then lost 46-14 to the BC Lions. They were incapable of slowing down Nathan Rourke. 34-37, 477 yards. They're allowing 36.2 points per game, and Chris Jones is nonplussed. What do you think of this spot here? Bobano, take it away, Roughriders Elks.
Yeah, well, I'll keep this very short. But it seems cheap for Saskatchewan, and I'm not big on Saskatchewan at all, and the way they played going into the bye. But the bye came at a perfect time, right? Think about what they dealt with: back-to-back losses to Toronto, and then the loss to BC, injury-riddled. They had the COVID outbreak. They've had some suspensions. They've had some absences on defense. The O-line has struggled. They needed the bye week. They needed a reset. Fajardo said that after the BC game. The bye weeks come at a good time for us. We need it. We're scuffling a little bit. We're leaking oil. I think they come out of the bye week recharged, a mental reset, refreshed, revitalized, and I think they're going to win and cover. Like they did earlier this season against Edmonton when it wasn't pretty, but they won by 10. And they got the win in the point spread cover. And it's just hard to say, yeah, let's bet Edmonton as a home underdog when they've been dreadful at home. The Commonwealth Stadium home edge is not there. It's a dead environment. The attendance is piss poor for these Edmonton home games. They're already 0 for ATS at home this year. I think they were 1 point spread cover, 2 at the most last year at home. Like you've lost your you've lost your ass essentially if you've been betting Edmonton every game at home since the beginning of last year. They have been awful, straight up in ATS at home. I think Saskatchewan off the bye week, they should be healthier. It looks like their top leading sack producer, one of their best players on the defensive line for sure, Pete Robertson's going to be back this week for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So that's going to help. The O-line has been an issue for me. but hopefully the bye week, extended practice, allows that group to come together and play better. And let's be honest, Edmonton doesn't have a pass rush. All right, they don't get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. The secondary is horrific. I'd better not see Cody Fajardo missing wide open receivers like I saw in the Toronto games and the BC game. Not this week. They don't rush the quarterback. They have probably the worst secondary in the CFL. I need to see Cody Fajardo accurate and on time with the football. And if he isn't in this game and he struggles again, it's really time to get concerned if you're Craig Dickinson and you're the Saskatchewan team. But it couldn't set up any better for them. I think it's worth it to lay the 5.5.
Is that what are you going to make that official?
Yep.
Okay, let's lock that in for you.
Correct. Worst run defense in the CFL too. G. Martinez, no doubt. And so Jamal Morrow, the running back for Saskatchewan, I'm already eyeing his prop number. When the player props come out for this game, I will be on his over rushing yards, no doubt.
I think that I wanted to back the Elks after the changes they made and getting destroyed. I don't think I can do it, but I was
Not
thinking
5.5. Yeah, you'd need at least a touchdown, at least.
But I was thinking that this is what this was a move that I wanted to make, and your minus 5.5 is minus 115. I think I get better than that. Is that better? And then let me just quickly see what 365 is doing on this one. I think there's 110. Okay, so let's get you minus 110.
110. Yep.
I don't see. I see Edmonton's defense being much better, but.
Just by default, they're playing a much weaker offense, so they should be a little bit better, but they're still not good. That's the problem.
They're not good, but after all the cuts and changes that Chris Jones made, now he gets to bring him back home. I don't know if I can move on it, but if I was to move on it, it would be the under. Again, and
the problem with the cuts is, you're basically replacing bad talent with more bad talent. Honestly, that's what I think this is for Edmonton. Their roster is just so depleted from a quality standpoint. They don't have much. That's what I'm worried about. Yeah, I know with a second game under their belt now, they'll be a little bit, they'll know the playbook a little bit more. But to me, it's just jettisoning out bad talent and putting more bad talent in there. Because if this talent was any good, why the hell weren't they in there to begin with, right?
Oh, yeah, there's a huge problem. There's serious problems. It's going to take Chris Jones a year and a half to fix these problems. Without a doubt, if he's capable of doing it. Okay, let's review all CFL action before we move on to NFL here. We have, for me, tonight, I'm going to be on the Bombers first half at -5 and the Alouettes team total under 18.5. Then Bobano is on the Ticats first half tomorrow night at -110. I think that the Ticats defense is going to really step up here. And the 34 points that the Argos score is just not going to happen. They can't run the ball. They had the pick 6, and I think that Schultz is going to be very conservative. So I think that at this point, I'm looking at 3 different unders. The Argos team total under, the full game under, and the first half under. If I make 3 bets in this game, it won't be at 200 a pop. I'm not going to put $600 on this under. That's just absolutely nuts to me. So if I do bet those 3, I would bring it down to 150 or even 125 possibly. Okay, so then we move on to the Saturday, August 13th CFL spreadsheet play of the day from our Ron Crawford, BC -1.5. We got Bobano the Lions -2.5, but he's on the -120 money line, which is now -145 at Pinnacle, and he's on the over 52.5 at -120. I'm still going to sit with that a little bit longer. Then Bobano's on the Roughriders -5.5, -110, and I'm thinking full game under here in that spot, but I'm going to need a little bit more time on that. Okay, there you go. That is CFL football. And for the first time all year on this show, as we didn't break down the Hall of Fame game, we probably should have. But for the first time all year, we move to the National Football League, and we have the most exciting thing in store for you guys this year, where we will be competing against each other for big sums of money. And Jose and I will have a show dedicated to this contest that we host every Thursday. But we are just making sure that everything is set up so that when we show you how exciting this is, you can just go and sign up for it and it's all ready to rock. So we're going to hold off a little bit here. Thank you, Slatsy, my man. But we expect to announce it this weekend.
You want to announce it bad.
I do.
I can tell it's bursting out of you. Does Ian know? Bobano, do you know what it is?
No, nobody. But he will know today because we're doing a little tester.
No, but it sounds like something similar to what I'm doing right now.
Whoa, Bobano, no spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Okay, Let's go into NFL right now. 7 p.m. Eastern this evening. The New York Giants with Brian Daboll in charge after 4 years.
We need to stop. We need to stop this shit right now. I hear Teddy Covers all the time saying Brian Daboll. I see you saying Daboll. Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll. Okay. Let's get it right. I mean, okay. I can't take it anymore. Brian People Daboll. Screwing that up. Sorry.
Brian Daboll. You should have just taken me down. Should have just taken me down. You need to throw Teddy under the tires there as well. So he's
worse. He says Brian Daboll. I mean,
okay, right. After 4 years of Pat Shurmur and Joe Judge, absolutely a pathetic 4-year run. Yeah, Brian Daboll. First game as head coach. He said in the press conference that all his healthy players will play, and it's important to give them live reps. Earl Sports Bets is Giants -3 for me. I know it's a bad line, but the preseason line movements of this much just tell me who is playing in this game. So let's talk about the big move that has happened here in this game tonight, because it has been a big one. And it all started with the press conference that Daboll had when he talked about that. What did he say exactly? He said,
whoever's healthy will play.
Yes,
which means that he's ready to roll with his starters. That's the bottom line.
And how important it is for them to have live reps. Now it's back to 2.5. So it moved to 3. It moved to 3 yesterday morning. Went back to 2.5. It moved to 3 this morning at 8:10, and it's come back to 2.5. Now that 2.5 is juiced, but it's back at 2.5 at most books. So this is the situation for Daboll. Giants started out 0-2 for 5 years in a row. The first team offense is expected to see about a quarter of action, maybe just the first 10 minutes of the first quarter. Then Tyrod Taylor will come in for the second quarter, and then we'll see Davis Webb for the second half. And we know that Davis Webb, familiar with Daboll's system from last year in Buffalo. The offense was unbelievably bad last season, 15.2 points per game. And we have Mike Kafka now, the new offensive coordinator. Patriots aren't expected to use Mac Jones, which means it'll be Hoyer and Zappi. Josh Daniels gone. He is now the head coach of the Raiders. And here we have Matt Patricia and Joe Judge sharing the duties as offensive coordinator. Nice to give these fucking failures a chance to get back on the sidelines. Here we go. Bobano, Giants, Patriots, take it away.
Yeah, it's funny. This is a great day for me to be on with the preseason card, even though there's only 2 games, because I actually have an official bet on both games here tonight. This one and the Baltimore-Tennessee game. I have the side in this game. I'm on the Giants. I'm on the Giants full game money line. Yeah, I'll go with that, even though the price has gone up. Like, I got the Giants money line at -130 a couple days ago. It's gone up. It's -145 still at Caesars, though. All right, so that's decent. It's below my threshold of -150. So Giants money line -145 at Caesars. We'll go with that against the Patriots here. I think it's bet on versus bet against. And you need, again, in the preseason, if you're going to bet these games, you have to get good info and good quotes and be aware of what the teams plan to achieve or not achieve in each game. And for Brian Daboll here, the new head coach of the Giants, he wants to establish a winning culture. He wants to get his team familiar on both sides of the football, his starters familiar on both sides of the football with the schemes and with the playbook. So that's why they're all going to be in. And I think definitely there's an onus to go out there, play a good, for the most part, hopefully clean football game, even though it's August, even though it's preseason, even though the game doesn't count. And look, Daniel Jones will get some playing time. We don't know quite how much, but he'll be out there with the starters, it looks like. And it's important to remind people here, especially in the first preseason game, week 1, You need to be able to decipher who's going to play in the third and the fourth quarter and where your money is going to be decided by. It's going to be decided by who's playing in the third and the fourth quarter. And that's important in these type of games here in the preseason. So when you look at later in the game, for the Giants, you've got Tyrod Taylor and you've got Davis Webb at quarterback. And what they are two players that have had significant years now in the NFL. Tyrod Taylor's been a starter multiple places in the NFL. Davis Webb, he's been with this Giants team now for a few years. He's been not starting, but he's been playing in preseason games for a few years. These are guys that should be able to come in there and make plays against backup defenders. All right, second, third, fourth string defensive players on the other side. You would think in theory they should be able to do that with their experience, and I think they will. If you look at New England, I mean, first of all, with New England, you get fuck all from Bill Belichick every year. In terms of him saying anything about what they're going to do in the preseason. He never gives you a thing. And that's more the same this year. But the beat writers, Jimmy, the local reporters that follow the Patriots here in training camp are saying they've had major O-line issues. They've had major O-line struggles. And to the point where the coaching staff's very concerned. And they're almost like they're going to keep this game plan tonight more cautious, more conservative, a little bit more vanilla because of those offensive line concerns that the Patriots have. Remember, they lost a couple of key pieces from that O-line from last year's team, so which was a good O-line, but they've had some issues in preseason with it. And when you look at New England's quarterback rotation, Mac Jones, he's not going to play. It doesn't sound like the starters are going to play, which means no Mac Jones tonight. And you're going to have to play this entire game with two quarterbacks, the journeyman, the veteran, Brian Hoyer. And from what I've read, you're going to see extended playing time in the second half from the rookie out of Western Kentucky, Bailey Zappi. Now, Bailey Zappi was just phenomenal as a college quarterback with Western Kentucky in that offense. It was outstanding. But here's the problem. He's in a gimmicky, air raid, pass-heavy, spread offense in college with Western Kentucky. Now he's got to play under center, pro-style NFL offense here, and he's going to have to make throws he didn't have to make in college. Everything was timing. You've got to be really on point. There's less room for error in the NFL. This is a huge concern because he's going from a completely different type of offense in college to what he's going to be doing here for New England here in this game tonight. And from all indications, he's probably going to get, the majority of the playing time tonight. That's a rookie who's never taken an NFL snap before. I don't think that's necessarily a bet-on situation, in my opinion. So you put it all together, Jimmy. I think the Giants get the win here. If you want to lay 3 instead of the money line, I don't hate that. But I'm going to go with the Giants minus 145 here, money line.
You got it locked in, and you can still get 2.5s, and they aren't too expensive. So you can still get 2.5s out there. Interestingly enough, 5,964 tickets in, and on the spread, 53% of the tickets are on the Pats, which is shocking. Just 34% of the cash. So the big sharp bets are coming in on the Giants. And then on the money line, just 53% of the tickets are on the Giants, but 84% of the cash. So big bets have come in, but there are no big bets. There's limits.
Doesn't shock me with the ticket percentages on New England. People that have no clue how to handicap and bet preseason just say, hey, it's the Patriots, 3-point underdogs. They're better than the Giants. They've been better than the Giants for several years. Got to take the Patriots. But it's not about it's not about who's better. It's not about what your opinion of these teams are in August. It's about the info. It's about who cares, who doesn't, who's playing, who isn't, what the rotations are, what the depth is like for these teams. And by the way, if there's massive injuries to one position group or massive struggles to one position group in the preseason for a team, and they know it, that is a bet against situation because teams don't want to compromise that group any further in meaningless football games.
And $2,000 is generally the limit in Vegas for these preseason games. They don't let the information destroy them. So they're not big bets, but bigger bets. Bobano in on the Giants minus 145. Let's move on to the next game, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I know a lot of you want to talk MLB. We will be talking MLB here very soon. Exciting 8-game card highlighted by the Field of Dream game. Tennessee Titans at Baltimore Ravens, M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. Let's take a look at the line movement here as we talk about the most consistent thing in all of our lives, and that's the Baltimore Ravens winning preseason football games, 20 straight victories, 18-2 against the spread. They opened up, though, as 5. Actually, you know what? I guess they didn't open up here. Wow, this surprises me. They opened up as 2.5-point favorites. This was a week ago when it came out, and it took 4 days for it to get to 3. Then it started moving. Oh no, geez, sorry, that's my bad. This was a month and a half ago. So on the 6 days ago, it moved to 5. My apologies. That was a month. That was this. I see the 7 there, not August. So it moves to 5. It's at 5, and then since then, money's coming in on the Titans. The Titans are now down to 3-point dogs. So we've seen a 2-point swing over to the Tennessee Titans. And the idea, I guess, is that Vrabel is going to take this seriously. Harbaugh and the Ravens care. The last coach to care like this in preseason games was Vince Lombardi. He won 19 straight between 1959 and 1962. Lamar Jackson and at least 6 other starters, which we figured out will not play. That's Marlon Humphrey, Mark Andrews, Justin Houston, and safety Marcus Williams. They will not play. And we wonder, after watching J.K. Dobbins go down last year in, I believe it was it the final preseason game with a season-ending knee injury, will there be any different process for Harbaugh? Tyler Huntley, Brent Huntley, and Anthony Brown will all take snaps tonight. We saw what Huntley did from week 14 to week 18. He looked quite good. Now they lost, I believe he went 1-4, I think, and they lost 4 of those games by the tiniest of margins, but he looked good. And last year in preseason in week 3, they beat up on the Redskins, the then Redskins, 37-3, or the Washington football team, I should say, 37-3 with 4 touchdown passes. Marquise Brown is in Arizona. Sammy Watkins is in Green Bay. So you got Bateman, Prochet, and Duvernay at the top of the depth chart. On the other side of things, the Titans are 4-7 in the preseason, straight up under Vrabel. They went 2-1 last year. They're 4-6 against the spread. They may get 1 series out of Tannehill, and then it will be Malik Willis, making his debut here in the NFL, and Logan Whiteside, third-year backup. This offense also going to be very different. A wide receiver, Julio Jones gone. He's in Tampa. A.J. Brown in Philadelphia. And Dontrell Hilliard and the 4th-round pick in the draft out of Michigan, Hassan Haskins, will be getting the reps at running back as Derrick Henry will sit out the entire preseason. It looks like. Take it away here, Bobano. A 2-point move towards the Titans.
So when I started looking into this game, I think it was, late yesterday afternoon into the evening, we started to look at the preseason card, especially for Thursday and Friday. First thought that stuck out. Now, first, let me talk about the side, because I'm not betting the side in this game, but I will address it first. We know Baltimore's won 20 preseason games in a row. Everybody's now aware of it keenly. 20-0 straight up, 17-2-1 against the spread for Baltimore. The last 20 preseason games. That's a difficult track record to bet against. I understand that completely. But there is a reason this line, which was 4.5 on Baltimore early this week, is now 3. This could be the year that John Harbaugh says, you know what? We've won 20 preseason games in a row. Normally, I want to win these games in August, establish a winning culture. But, we've won 20 in a row. I got the record for most consecutive preseason wins of an NFL head coach last year. We got riddled with injuries last year. We had O-line injuries. We had running back injuries. We had secondary injuries. We were decimated at all 3 position groups during the course of last year. If there's ever a time for John Harbaugh and the Ravens to say, you know what, let's pump the brakes here. Let's be a little conservative. Let's not play the starters as much. Let's be careful. Let's be cautious. If there's ever a season in the preseason to do that, it's this year. And if you read some of what Harbaugh said this year, I think he's kind of thinking that maybe, hey, we're going to let our foot off the gas pedal in terms of, pedal to the metal, win these games in August. Now, I'm still not betting against Baltimore and that track record. There's just no way I'm doing that. But I'm fascinated to see how they play tonight because, on the other side, you got a Tennessee team that their preseason track record the last few years under Mike Vrabel's pretty good. So, I look at this here and I understand why Tennessee's taking the money here. Even though Baltimore's got that incredible record, this feels like the first time where we can legitimately question whether John Harbaugh is totally amped up to see his team go pedal to the metal here in the month of August. So I think it's a tricky game from a side perspective because Tennessee is the type of team I like to bet on in the preseason as well. But at the same time, even though I got my concerns about Ravens being a little more conservative, I'm still not ready necessarily to fade a team that's won 20 August preseason games in a row. But what I do like here, and the first thing that stuck out with this game, why the hell was the total that low? 31.5 is what it was when I bet it. And now this morning, we're seeing that total finally get bet up, and I fully agree with it. And even I think it's up to 33 now. I like the over, and that's going to be an official play here, Tennessee and Baltimore. Look at the quarterbacks on both sides. Forget the fact that Lamar's not playing for Baltimore. We know that. But you look at who's going to play the majority of this game for Baltimore. Tyler Huntley, who got significant playing time last year due to all the injuries, regular season games, that is. And he played decently, I thought, at a time. I remember he played Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay last year. He was good in that game. He moved the offense for the Ravens. So he played a lot last season. He's going to play a lot tonight in this game with Lamar out. And after Tyler Huntley, you're going to get Brett Hundley, who, of course, is a guy that was in Green Bay for years. He has started a bunch of games or played a bunch of games in the preseason. He started, I think, a couple of games at least in the regular season. This is an experienced quarterback here that can make plays against, lower level defensive players. And I think you're going to see both of them move the football. And at the end of the game, you'll see a little Anthony Brown, the rookie out of Oregon, and he's athletic, he's mobile, and that's what you like later in the game. Pocket collapses, the guy can run with the football and keep the play alive. So look at that Baltimore quarterback rotation, even with Lamar sitting, and I think they can move the football. And then you look at Tennessee. I don't know how much we'll see of Tannehill, probably not a lot, but after him, Logan Woodside has been with this team and in this Titans offense since 2019. And if you look at the last few years, he knows the offense. He's played very well in the preseason. Logan Woodside played at Toledo many years ago. He's a solid preseason quarterback. He's put up some good numbers here in August and years past. And after that, you're going to see a lot of Malik Willis, the rookie out of Liberty, who, again, kind of like Brown, maybe he struggles with his arm a little bit. First NFL snaps could be a learning curve, but he can run. He's athletic. And if the pass rush gets in on him, he can escape and keep the drives alive, keep the chains moving, and put points on the board. I thought, given the quarterback rotations and the offensive capability for both sides in a game like this, I couldn't believe the total was that low. And I think the bet, and by the way, there's massive concerns with multiple injuries in the secondary here in training camp for Tennessee. And here, that's another thing you want to pick on, cluster injuries in a position group. Titans have that in the secondary. So I think that could lead to some points. And again, the depth is going to get targeted and challenged quite a bit in that pass defense for the Titans. So finally, the betting markets this morning are seeing what I saw, that there should be some points in this game, and that 31.5 was way too low for this total. It's up to 33 now. And even at 33, I still think there's plenty of value. Titans, Ravens over the total.
Do you want...
Rob Lehner out for the season, hip surgery.
Wild. That's not going to help a franchise that's taking a lot of bad press right now. We can get you that. It's 33.5 at some books, 32.5 at Pinnacle minus 116. Or do you want the?
We'll take the 32.5. Sure.
Okay. There you go. You got 32.5 minus 116. Sharp money is on the Tennessee Titans here. 7,565 tickets in, 26% of the tickets, 40% of the cash on the spread on the Titans. Then you have 33% of tickets and 88% of cash on the under in this one, which is surprising. But you have that same thing on the Giants Patriots, 43% and 63% on the under, which is a common thing that they do. Yes, you were right. We are talking NFL here. There you have it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I do not like the idea of leaving money on the table. And I remember, we talked about Teddy briefly a little while ago. Teddy made one of the biggest bets of his entire life on a preseason game. It was a life-changing bet for him. Like he put himself in a situation where he if he was going to lose this bet, he was going to leave Vegas. Like it was like he put it all in and he won it by like 38 points, 40 points. So I don't want to leave and now there's limits. Like you can't get away. You can't get away. Like almost all books have a $2,000 limit for preseason bets. But that limits don't affect me. I would, my unit size is nowhere near that. So, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I don't want to sit here and on the two public sides that are the Giants and the Ravens. That's just not how I want to start my season, but I get it. Bobano's on the Giants, and he's on the over 32.5 in Titans Ravens. That is our NFL breakdown for week 1 of the preseason. And man, do we have big news that we'll be talking about nonstop before the first game of the season. That is, I believe, Thursday, September 5th. Okay, we move on to MLB. A winning day for me yesterday. Marlins first 5 plus 100. I just can't believe that we get the Cy Young pitcher first 5 for plus money. It's just mind-boggling. Tigers first 5 plus 150. I know you guys point and laugh at me when I bet on the Tigers, but that fucking shouldn't have been a fucking loss. White Sox, Royals first 5 under 4.5 cashed. Full game under 8.5 did not, but Royals first 5 cashed plus 115. Brewers first 5 minus a half. It was 2-2 after 5. It was 2-0 after 1. Bullshit. And then Washington, Chicago Cubs first 5 under 4 was glorious, and we thank the breakdown from Sharpie for that. All right, let's roll. Here we go. We start in under 1 hour, 1:05 p.m. Eastern. The Miami Marlins, 49-61, 26-33 on the road at the Philadelphia Phillies, 62-48, 32-25 at home. We're at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We will start with the weather in Philly. Mostly cloudy, 82, feels like 85, 4.3 miles per hour in. Gets up to 5.8. Let me refresh this because this was hours ago. So let me see if that has changed. Yes, a little bit stronger in 4.8 miles per hour, and ends up at 6. When it is 6 miles an hour, it's partially left to right, not all the way in. Adami Gunn says he deserves Cy Young, but won't get it. Popularity contest. He better get it. He's been spectacular this year. We see another highly thought of pitcher in the Marlins system, Edward Cabrera, 6'5", 24-year-old Dominican, 2-1, 2.61 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. He's only throwing 20 2/3 this year because he had that long IL stint. He came off that IL stint. He went 5 innings, did not allow a hit, 8 Ks, 3 walks, and a 2-1 loss at the Cubs. He's a great. He could become a great pitcher in this league. Kyle Gibson, on the other hand, Billy Brisbane looking at Gibson over 4.5 strikeouts at minus 150. You said, who did today's MLB schedule? It is not I think they're trying to make sure that all the attention is on the Field of Dreams game. But we have Kyle Gibson, who looked spectacular in his last start. 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 4 Ks, 1 walk, and 7-2 win at home versus the Nats at home. He's 6-2 with a 4.11 ERA, 2.27 opponent's batting average, 4.36 ERA, 1.17 WHIP on the season. The Phillies bullpen has been a tiny bit better of late, very recently. But before that, they were struggling. They were struggling for a couple of weeks. The Marlins bullpen has started to pitch better. They looked really bad for a while. They're starting to pitch better. Marlins are not hitting righties at all. 242, 690 OPS. Phillies versus righties, 247, 725 OPS. Let's go over to the line history in this one. I've only made one bet on today's MLB card, and that was in the Pittsburgh-Arizona game. We have a 15-cent move to the Miami Marlins. A 15-cent move to the Miami Marlins. And from a total perspective, we have a 15-cent move to the under. So Marlins and the under. We have full line value on the Miami Marlins here. Wow, 15,598 tickets in. 19% of the tickets, 34% of the cash on the Marlins. Then 60% of tickets, 68% cash on the under. Wow. I find Gibson a tricky pitcher for me to figure out, but he seems to be on right now. If the market likes the Marlins, then we should expect Cabrera to be on right now, which would maybe lean us towards an under. Take it away here, Bobano, Marlins, Phillies.
Yeah, I'm not involved in this game. I mean, sometimes the betting markets actually do you a favor. And yesterday they did me a favor because I would have been on Miami at Sandy Alcantara yesterday, but I missed the line move. I missed the best of the price. I mean, the line had already crashed down significantly. It opened like minus 170 on Philadelphia, and I think they closed around even money. or just barely a small favorite. And I said, I missed the price. The 40, 50 cent move had already happened on Miami. And I'm like, I can't bet Miami now. And sure enough, Miami, they start off strong and they can't hold the lead. Philadelphia comes back. So a blessing in disguise that I missed the good price on Miami because I didn't end up betting Miami yesterday. And there's no way I'd bet Miami here. I mean, even with their best pitcher on the mound, they couldn't find a way to win. I think Cabrera's got some potential, but they're just not hitting right now. The bullpen's starting to flounder, and we saw that last night blowing the game against the Phillies. The Phillies are red hot right now. I ain't stepping in front of Philadelphia. Gibson's actually been better his last few starts, so it would be Phillies for me, but I ain't laying $1.50. No reason to get involved.
I'm with Lee Davis. The market is indicating to me that the first 5 under is a great bet. I think, we talked about it yesterday how the Marlins were a public dog, and it gave some cappers confidence to take the Phillies. And I was like, look, we'll both win. The Marlins are going to cover the first 5. Sandy Alcantara, with the first 5 is I find it just so fucking easy. Donald still says Philly -1. Last home game got to ride this streak. And there's my guy Mike M says we sure did both win. Yeah, it was. I love breaking that game down yesterday. I found that the angles quite easy. And Noli. Oh, sorry. Domi Gun Ricci's on the under 8 here. Says that's what happens after spending 3 days side by side with Noli knows. Robert Franklin. Excuse me. God, what's wrong with me today? Robert Franklin leading to the under 8. I'm going to go ahead. Well, I'm going to have to bet it before the show's over. I'm going to go ahead and move on this first 5 under. The first 5 under 4 is a pick'em, and I'm going to do it. First 5 under, -110. First 5 under 4. Okay, we move on to game 2, 1:10 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Guardians 58-52, 29-30 on the road. The Detroit Tigers 43-69, 26-32 at home at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. Let's go with the weather in Comerica. 78 Fahrenheit, 9.3 miles per hour. Out to right center, gets up to 10.3 miles per hour. This is another 1:10 p.m. start. This one pops off here in 50 minutes. And I got a little caught up in football because I want to have the host of Say Hey Plays, our man Jose Bouquet, capping these afternoon games with us because he won't get a chance to touch him on his show, which will only have the 2 games, the Boston Red Sox game and the Field of Dreams game tonight. So let's bring on Jose Bouquet without further ado. Jose, sorry we missed you on that first game. That was my fault. Did you have a look on Marlins Phillies?
First 5 under 4, -110. Official. I was actually putting together the tweet right now. But yeah, official there. I'm glad Domi's on the full game under. That makes me feel better. Edward Cabrera, you guys mentioned his hot streak. Just to underline his hot streak. Last time out, Chicago Cubs, 5 innings, no hits, 8 Ks, 3 walks. That was his first start coming back up from the majors. His AAA starts, his last 3, 5 innings, 1 hit, 7 Ks, no walks. 3 innings, no hits, 7 Ks, 1 walk. 3 innings, no hits, 1 K. He's hot. I'm gonna ride the hot hand.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a little nervous pulling up the Pinnacle number +102. +102. I don't like seeing that. Mike M looking at the under 4.5, but at -130. Okay, so Jose and I are both on this first 5 under 4, but that does give me some fear here. Professor Chris says model getting guards money line -174, or that's what the model's giving it, but it's -155 has value. Same with the run line. So he's looking over at the Guardians and Real Deal Prime talking about Avila getting fired. And Dommy Gunn says, I didn't take the first 5 because it was -110 and then a pick, I guess an even money. That makes me nervous. That makes me very nervous all of a sudden. But let's talk Guardians, Tigers here, and I've got 40 minutes or so to figure that shit out, 45 minutes. Zach Plesac going up against Garrett Hill. And AJ saying, are you guys going to do friends and family parlay today? We are 1-0 with Bobano. We are 1-0.
I'm very excited for the friends and family today. It's going to go brazy, as the kids say.
Zach Plesac on the bump against Garrett Hill. So we talked about the weather. It's blowing out quite strong. Let's move over to the odds here with Plesac going up against Hill. There's been a 10-cent move towards the Tigers. There'd been a bigger one. At 10:15 a.m., there'd been a 25-cent move. The Guardians had gone from minus 160 to minus 135, but they're back at minus 150 now. From a total perspective, it moved a full run at 10:15 a.m. from 8.5 to 7.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 12,407 tickets in, 23% of the tickets, 36% of the cash on the Tigers. Then 74% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on the over. So let's look at that again, 23 and 36. So big bets coming in on the Tigers. One Time Sports says all the big money on the Tigers. I have to say I made a pretty big bet on it as well. Okay, please act 2-10. 4.49 ERA, 1.35 whip. He's been atrocious on the road. 1-7 with a 5.31 ERA, 249 opponent's batting average. His last start was at home. It was versus the Astros. He went up against Verlander. He went 4 1/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 Ks, and 5 walks. Garrett Hill on the other side. His last start was 9-1 win at home versus Tampa, and he looked very good. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, but 5.12 ERA and 31 2/3 and 17 Ks, 14 walks is not going to cut it, but he's coming off his best start in the show. Guardians versus righties, 262, 727 OPS. Tigers versus righties, 213, 584. Guardians bullpen has been very, very good of late, and the Tigers bullpen is starting to fall back to earth. We will start with Bobano. Take it away, Guardians, Tigers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the side and the total. Tigers, first 5 full games. I have to split it up because the Tiger bullpen's got a 6 ERA the last 10 games, and they've not been the same since they traded Fulmer at the deadline, and they just haven't been nearly as good since the trade deadline. That's really when the Tigers bullpen struggled. So I'm going to split this up. So I'm going to go with the first 5 innings, which I believe is plus 120 for Detroit, and a full game at plus 132 is the best price with that. And I also like over 8.5. I think we'll get over this number. I don't like Plesac on the road. You mentioned it. His last 2 starts have been rough as well. For the Guardians, hasn't pitched well in those games, given up 9 runs, 16 hits in the last 9.1 innings against Tampa and Houston. I think he'll probably get hit a little bit here. He got hit by Detroit when he faced them last time, July 15th, 5 runs, 6 hits, 3.2 innings in that game for Plesac against the Tigers. Hill's been solid, and I think, especially at home, 2.7 ERA. And I think he can hang in there, because you look at what he's done at Comerica Park. He faced them Cleveland on July 4th, his first start, 1 run, 2 hits, 6 innings. Detroit won that game against Cleveland. Gave up just 3 runs in 5 innings against San Diego here at home. Gave up 1 run last time out. You mentioned it, against Tampa Bay here at home. So I think first 5 full game split with the Detroit Tigers in this game, just because of the worries I have for their bullpen. But the worries about their bullpen is also why I like the over, because I think, Cleveland might be held down early. And then against the bullpen, they get some runs late. And Cleveland's lineup has been thumping. The last several games, they've been doing a good job. So over 8.5, and we'll go with Tigers first 5 full game money line split.
You are locked in. We got you a plus 127 on the first 5, a plus 134 on the full game, and the over 8.5 at minus 115. Let's see if we can beat that at circa that total. And we can, minus 112 over there. All right, let's hear what old Jose Zinata Bouquet has to say about this spot. Guardians, Tigers.
I like Plesac a lot, and he's a lot better than a 2-10 pitcher, but I ultimately had to pass here. The Tigers are atrocious against righties, and that's the thing that got me off of it ultimately. And Ian, about how bad they are against righties, but Plesac, can he be?
Oh, they're bad in general right now, the Tigers' offense.
You're right.
Kind of a leap of faith, but I like the price.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't hate it at all. And so I pass on this game. I like Plesac, but 2-10 just it shows that maybe you're not that good, huh?
Yeah, not. Runners on first and third with no out, and I couldn't get the run yesterday to push, or 2 runs to cash made me extremely angry. So a stay off spot for Jose and a triple up spot here for Bobano. I don't know what to do with this spot here, and I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw at this point. But
by the way, both of these pitchers, I want to point out, Plesac and even Garrett Hill, both of their metrics, their advanced numbers, they're not good. They are way below league average. So, in Hill's case and Plesac, first of all, their ERAs aren't great, but their advanced numbers are really woeful. That's another thing that kind of led me to the over here, that the ERAs are not phony. You know, these are guys that are pitching well below league average right now, both of them. Plesac is supposed to be better, but unfortunately, just hasn't.
Sammy Comer on Detroit first 5 plus a half at -111. Okay. And Don Max says Plesac has been flaming garbage for the past month or so. All right. We move on to 2:10 p.m. Eastern. Chicago White Sox 56 and 55, 31 and 26 on the road at the Kansas City Royals 46 and 66, 27-32 at home. Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Start out with the weather in Kansas City, 86 Fahrenheit, 5.6 miles per hour. Right to left slightly in. Goes up to 6.1 miles per hour in. Take a look at the line history. There had been no movement towards the White Sox with Dylan Cease on the mound. And there still hasn't. A 5-cent move to the Royals. From a total perspective, it's down a full run. It moved down from 8.5 to 8 pretty quickly last night in about 2.5 hours. This morning it moved to 7.5, so we're down a full run. Let's move over to Sean Pulliam saying this is Kansas City. Let's cash. I find it almost impossible to fade Dylan Cease. What I could do is stay off. I had Dylan Cease last week against Glen Otto, and the market was indicating that the Rangers were taking these big bets, that they had line value. The under was getting bet hard, so you could tell Glen Otto was, or at least the models had expected Glen Otto to have a nice start. Feels like the same thing here with Zach Greinke, but let's start with Cease. 12-4, 1.98 ERA, 1.16 WHIP, 166 Ks and 122 2/3. He's been excellent this year. Coming off that 2-1 win where he allowed went 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, 3 walks. I cashed the first 5 -0.5. I pushed the full game -1. On the road, he's been unbelievable. 7-1, 1.33 ERA, 204 opponents batting average. Going up against Zach Greinke, who has very good home numbers. But he's coming off a 7-4 loss at home versus the Red Sox, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 Ks, 2 walks. Has a 4.58 ERA, 1.33 WHIP on the year. Just 52 strikeouts, 92 1/3. White Sox versus righties, 252, 679 OPS. Royals versus righties, 245, 681 OPS. Very similar numbers. And the White Sox bullpen has been quite a bit better of late. The Royals have been given half line value here, 12,786 tickets in. But 82% of the tickets, 86% of cash on the White Sox in a 5-cent move to the Royals. 54% of the tickets on the under and 75% of cash on the under. Take it away here, Bobano, White Sox Royals.
I want to take White Sox first 5 full game run line split. I really do, but I've been burned by this team, including last night with what I thought was a big advantage for them, pitching Cueto over Bubic, and they can't even hit Bubic. I mean, that's where we're at with the White Sox right now. What happened to this team that mashed lefties all the time, and it did jack squat last night against the Royals, and I'm sick of it. Honestly, I'm sick of the inconsistency, and they're always going to get priced like this, especially with Dylan Cease on the mound. It's just they're too up and down for my liking. They should win this game. I think they could be a good bet, first 5 full game split, but we could be sitting here like in his last start against Texas, where the guy is pitching lights out, Dylan Cease, and they just can't hit for him. They don't give him any run support. They barely squeaked that game out against Texas 2-1 last weekend. And that was frustrating because in that game, you know, I had full game first 5 split. I got the first 5, but full game run line falls short because they get the 2 runs, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. They do nothing after that. So, you know, that's the issue right now for the Chicago White Sox. They're very frustrating, and you can't rely on their offense even against mediocre pitching most nights. Could they hit Greinke? I think they could. I don't like the trajectory of Greinke. He's given up 2 bad starts the last 2 starts. The only good one he's had since the All-Star break was the pathetic Angels lineup, which is not saying much. So they should get some runs against Greinke, but Greinke's also got a very good home ERA in KC, 2.23. So it does kind of feel like it could be an under because I don't have the utmost confidence in the White Sox lineup to even hit mediocre pitchers half the time. So it's a pass for me. I lean White Sox first 5 full game, lean under.
I think it might be worth still moving on that first 5 under. The full game's come from 8.5 to 7.5, but you're still getting that 4. It's slightly juiced, but you're still getting the 4 on the first 5 under.
Exactly. He's the Jake DeGrom of Chicago White Sox. Dylan Cease pitches the lights out, and they don't get a smell for him offensively.
Don Max says, I'm fading Greinke's home splits. The streak of success at home is over. White Sox also hit nearly 300 versus soft tossers. Let's hear what Jose has to say about this spot, White Sox Royals.
I would also lean towards the first 5 under, but I'm passing on this game too, just because of another lack of confidence in the White Sox. I don't remember the last time I bet on the White Sox, really, because, I just don't trust them at the end of the day. They're just a disappointing team. Greinke, you mentioned the home road split. And I would rather trust them than not trust them, honestly. I understand that his last start there at home, the Yankees start 3 earned runs, 5, not the best. But I would lead first 5 under here, but I'm passing just because I don't trust the White Sox. And the Royals are just a young ball club that could get diced up by Dylan Cease today. So another pass for me.
I think that I'm going to move on this first 5 under here. First 5 under 4. And I think this is a nice spot. All right, let's move on to 2:10 p.m. Eastern. Texas Rangers, 49-61, 26-30 on the road. At the Houston Astros, 71-41, 35-18 at home. We're at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Cole Ragans, very good to me last start. It was a 3-2 win at home over the White Sox. And I cashed the under. I expected him to pitch well, and he did. One of those guys who, in Double-A with the Frisco Roughriders, he had really good numbers. He went up, that was 10 starts. He had 8 starts with Triple-A Round Rock Express, and he continued those really good numbers. And I like that. I like the consistency when you go from Double-A to Triple-A. He was a first round 30th overall pick out of North Florida Christian High School in Tallahassee. And I like him. Combined in those two Double-A and Triple-A, 3.04 ERA, 1.12 whip, 113 Ks and 94 2/3. I just think he's quality. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 3 Ks, 4 walks, and a 3-2 win at home over the White Sox, which gave me the confidence to back Bubic yesterday on first 5 and the first 5 under. Going up against Framber Valdez, who has not been good at home this year, 3-2, 4.01 ERA, opponents hitting 268 off him. He's coming off a 9-3 win at the Guardians. Quality start, 6 1/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. He's been excellent all year. I don't mean to nitpick about what he's done at home. 2.87 ERA, 1.15 whip. Rangers are hitting lefties hard, and all of a sudden the Astros are hitting lefties very hard as well. Rangers bullpen a full run worse than the spectacular Astros bullpen. Slatsy says, gotta roll off to Cottage Country. Great show and info. Thanks, and win your bets. I love it. Gotta roll off to Cottage Country.
Enjoy the cottage, yes.
What is Cottage Country?
Always a good time.
Cottage Country is like Muskoka. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, but it's different for, it's just, we don't have, there's no cabins out east like there's out west. Out east, it's cottages. And nice work. And there's Sky Dragon in the house. I've missed him. I legitimately a few minutes ago thinking, God, I missed Dennis Garcia. Where is he? All right. Sky Dragon has a question for you, Jose, here. First off, before I finish off this Astros, who do you think wins the Central Division?
Minnesota Twins.
All right. Okay, so here we go. Rangers, Astros. Let's go to the line history here. In this one's Ragans versus Valdez. We have the Astros went to a 15-cent move in their direction. Since then, there's been a 40-cent move away from them. So that was 9:20 p.m. last night. They were minus 315. They're now minus 275. And this total opened up at 8. It jumped up to 8.5 last night, but it's back to 8, and it's juiced to the under. And when we take a look at the cash flow in this one, 12,685 tickets in, 14% of the tickets and 65% of the cash is on the Texas Rangers. 37% tickets, 93% cash is on the under. Fascinating. We'll start with you, Jose Bouquet, Rangers, Astros.
Well, I'll say this. This is the advantage and the benefit of doing this show and my show. You have 2 different show records. I will gladly put first 5 full game Texas Rangers on this betting with the bag record. I'm a winning capper, though I may not ever see that record again because Jimmy likes to do his taxes. Of course, we know that. I hope the Canadian government comes knocking and says, Jim, where are the Say Hey Play records? But I saw this when the show first started at a minus 300. Right now, it's at a minus 270 for me. I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. So I'll roll the dice here. I love Framber Valdez. He's my favorite lefty in the league, as many people know. The Rangers are 20th against lefties since the All-Star break, though. 81 weighted runs created plus. This is the scary part about this. So I'll roll the dice and we'll see what our man Cole here has. But Rangers first 5 full game, and shout out to Earl Sports Bet, a follower of the 300 rule. So I appreciate him for watching.
A proud follower he is. He's made a lot of money off of it. Take it away, Bobano. What do you think here, Rangers Astros?
Texas or nothing. I mean, it's. I don't love Reagan's necessarily, the pitcher for Texas here, and Valdez is very capable. But I'm telling you what, I mean, it's a big price, and Texas just won 8-4, and they just pounded Verlander last night, one of the best pitchers the Astros have. So, when you look at this, Texas has been hitting lately. You mentioned they've been hitting lefties. In this game, in this matchup, I don't know if Houston is minus 260 to minus 280 type of better than Texas to win this particular game. So a couple of bucks on Texas. I actually might place a couple of bucks on Texas here, but I won't make it official. It's just a very small, light lean.
Yeah, and I would be interested in the under. The market's now moving quite quickly towards the under. That last 10-cent move happened 15 minutes ago. But there's so much money in on the under. I would want to see more movement there. I imagine with 90, it's moved down to 89%. So 36% of the tickets, 89% of the cash on that under. Noli, are you on this under? I guess their skill sets against lefties is enough to make me a little nervous. Nate Cernan says, I think Texas just has their number. Jose, Rangers first 5 plus 228, full game plus 225. That's the best we get here. Let's see if I can beat that.
That's the beauties of watching betting with the bag right here. You wouldn't get these plays if you just followed on Twitter. You got to watch.
And we don't only get our Jose Seje plays of the days, we also get our man Razor Sharp Picks, Gambler's First Glance. And it is in our next game, 3:10 p.m. Eastern, St. Louis Cardinals at Colorado Rockies. The Gambler's First Glance is the Rockies money line at plus 100 for Razor Sharp Picks. We also get our, where is it? I thought I had it lit up here.
Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day on St. Louis, pending cards lineup.
Okay, there. I was wondering. Okay, so spreadsheet play of the day is pending the cards lineup here. Pending the cards lineup. So the spreadsheet play of the day could very well be St. Louis. We will have to follow his Twitter to see if that's the case. And TJ says Sharps all over the Rockies, but he says the correct play is St. Louis. Minus 1.5, says our guy.
Dami on the Cardinals.
Dami Gun Ricci also on the Cardinals. Interesting. All right. Let's talk about this spot. Dakota Hudson going up against Herman Marquez. We'll start with the weather in Colorado, 91 Fahrenheit. And gets up to 97 by the end of the game. 3.8 miles per hour right to left. Gets up to 5.7, but it stays right to left, so that's not a big problem. Viper MB also on the Cardinals. Professor Chris says, love the Cards today. Model is the Cards minus 142. He said bet them at minus 112.
At this point, I feel obligated just to bet the Cardinals. I mean, Jesus.
There's some heavyweights on them. But our Razor Sharp Picks on the other side. Dakota Hudson, 6-6, 4.20 ERA, 1.39 whip, 56 Ks, 46 walks, 8 home runs, just 56 strikeouts in 105 innings. His last start, 4-3 win at home over the Yankees. He did the job. He only went 4 innings, and he allowed 7 hits, but he bent and didn't really break. 3 earned runs, 2 Ks, 2 walks, and then this Cards bullpen took care of him, the streaky Cards bullpen. On the road, he's been bad this year, 5.26 ERA, 2.75 opponent's batting average. Herman Marquez at home has been bad, 6.11 ERA, 3.04 opponent's batting average, coming off a 6-5 loss at the Diamondbacks when he pitched well, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 Ks, 3 walks. Cards versus righties, 249, 724 OPS, very similar number to the Rockies. But the Rockies had no power against righties until recently. They're now hitting righties quite hard. The Rockies bullpen has been very bad, but the back end has been good. Let's take a look at the line history in this Cards spot here. We have the total first opened up at 12. The first move was to the under at 11.5. Since then, it's been over. Went up a full run to 12.5 until 20 minutes ago when it dropped to 12. So it's gone up a half run. From a money line perspective, there's been a 10-cent move to the Colorado Rockies. The Colorado Rockies, with Sports Insights, have been given full line value. 11,222 tickets in. 20% of the tickets are on the Colorado Rockies and 70% of the cash.
Jesus.
57% of tickets and 66% cash on the over. Let's hear what Bobano has to say about this spot, Cardinals Rockies.
So kind of feels like this could be a high-scoring one. I don't trust Hudson in Coors. I mean, he actually has one start there, and he wasn't terrible, but has given up a home run 2 of his last 3 games. He has actually pitched okay the last 2, but I don't know if this is the great matchup for him here against Colorado. I still don't trust Marquez. Marquez is actually 4 of his last 5 starts. He's given up 2 runs or less. Start to look, though, at some of those lineups. Arizona, White Sox have been erratic. Pittsburgh, Arizona again. He hasn't exactly faced a murderer's row, and then the other games that he pitched, he got hit hard. San Diego hit him pretty good. Dodgers crushed him both starts. He faced LA there. So I don't trust him to shut down a pretty damn good St. Louis lineup that's hitting right now. 12, 5, 9, 26 runs in their last 3 games combined. So I'd look to the over here for a lean. Not official. I'm not making anything official for this game. Just a small lean over 12. It's a high total though, and it's a getaway day. It's an afternoon game, and it's pretty damn high, this number at 12. But I was on the over last night in that game. 9-5 it ended. 14 runs. I would lean over again here.
A lean towards the over. By the way, I just bet the first 5 under 4 in Marlins Phillies, and I was nervous. Remember, I said it's plus 102 now. Pinnacle. It's a 5-cent move towards the under. Now minus 103. That move was giving me a little bit more confidence that I needed. Let's hear what Jose Lambchop Zenyatta one whole bouquet has to say about this spot here. We got some sharps on either side of the fence. Take it away. Cards, Rockies.
Yeah, it's fucking tough. Honestly, my first instinct with Cardinals too. They're 4th against righties since the All-Star break, 127 weighted runs created plus. We know what they do against lefties. They smash them too. I mean, Herman Marquez, I say it often. Every time I see him, I just want to fade him. Just it's a basic instinct just to fade him. But I'll be honest, even though, and Dami mentioning the record update for Sports Insights, the last month in July, it was tough. There was a bad record, and I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. It kind of evened out. I'm sure if we add both months together, it'd probably be about even. Unit wise, I'm not sure.
They're down. It's down because there was 8 straight losses over the end of July and the beginning of August.
All right, so there you go. Yeah, I'm just a little worried about that, truthfully. Like, do I trust it as much now? Razor, obviously a great capper. Earl Sports also on the Rockies with Razor too. But at the end of the day, I'd probably go with the Cardinals. I'm not betting it here just because of everyone, on both sides. It's a very good game, I guess, to break down and cap. But I would agree with the overlook. I mean, I'm not stopping and taking an under here. It's been funny to watching these totals just soar over. Shout out to freaking Matty Ice in the Tame Play of the Day. I put the team total in my say hey parlay yesterday, and Donnie put the Blue Jays team total, and obviously you only get the minus 115, but I'll take any win I can get right now, truthfully. So I will I'll roll right now and roll on with this game and not playing it, but Cardinals in the over for me. So and plus I have Cardinals little Cardinals futures action, so I would appreciate them winning. So
we have a question for you, Jose, from old TJ. Calling you all one hole. He's asking, what is that? Fuck is that coming out of your hat? Is that
tear?
Oh, tear. Okay, tear. All right. Okay, thank you for that.
There's after the show because I'm disgraceful yesterday. So
Moose money in the house. He's on the over 11.5 minus 120. Says Hudson's been giving up way too much solid contact for a start in Coors. Moose, we want you back on the show. Let's get you back on the show next week. Moose, money in the house. Strategic investment says Cardinals are 6-1 in their last 7 games following a win. And Don Max says, wow, Marquez has been good. only team to put up runs on him in the past like 2 months. Are the Dodgers. He's been much better. I still don't trust him in the friendly confines of Coors Field. TJ says one team is significantly better. Watch huge bets coming on St. Louis 5 minutes to game time. All right. But Coin on the other side too says locked in Colorado money line plus 100, Baltimore money line plus 112. Interesting. Okay, I've got no move here on that spot. This is the only bet I made before the show started. Pirates, Diamondbacks. I'm on the first 5 under with Brubaker and Merrill Kelly. I got plus 105 on the first 5 under. And, I guess you could possibly want a 4.5 instead, but I was pretty thankful for that spot here. Let's see what it is now. It is still plus 105. It was plus 103 at Pinnacle when it was plus 105. Bet 365. So I thought that was okay for me. Don Mac, by the way, on the Rockies' first 5. There's Jacksonville Zoe in the house as I see Jose's working his way back to being a man with a stash. It's so his stash is it's a wild.
I appreciate that because it's not actually growing that fast, but I appreciate that, Jacksonville. He knows how to away to my heart.
All right, let's talk about this spot. Brubaker going up against Merle Kelly. Let's take a look at the line history in this one. We have a 15-cent move to the Pittsburgh Pirates, which got me off of backing Merle Kelly. From a total perspective, we have a 10-cent move to the under. So 15-cent move to the Pirates, 10-cent move to the under. To me, tells me that Brubaker's going to have a nice start. They have, I'd say, 15% line value on the Pirates, 10% of the tickets, 11% of the cash on the Pirates, not much. 40% of the tickets, 69% of the cash on the under. Look, Brubaker's 0-7 on the road, but 3.90 ERA, 262 opponents batting average. Coming off a 6-3 loss at the Orioles, he allowed 3 earned runs over 4 innings. Going up against Merle Kelly, whose last start at home versus the Rockies was very good. 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 5 Ks, 1 walk, 2.86 ERA, 1.13 whip. I know Bobano's been very high on him this year, and he's just put cash in our pockets. Noli Nose says, I think Brubaker gets touched today. From our Noli Nose. Merle Kelly, Pirates versus Righties, 226.53 OPS. Diamondbacks have quite a bit of power for a 224 average, 694 OPS against righties. Both bullpens are not to be trusted. Nate Cerna says, I think Diamondbacks first 5 money line. Bobano, talk to us about Merle Kelly. I know he's been very good to you.
Yeah, I hope he's good for me again today because I like first 5 Arizona -0.5, and I'm going to make that official. He's been great. He really has. I mean, he's been has had a pretty solid season start to finish. He had a few bumps in the road, of course. Everybody does, but 2.91 ERA at home, 2.86 ERA overall. For a team in Arizona that's 10 games below 500, yet they are 500 in Merrill Kelly's starts this year, 11-11. So they've actually won a good handful of his starts. And you go back all the way back to the beginning of July. That's now 7 starts since the beginning of July, 2 runs or less in every single start allowed by Merrill Kelly. So he's been absolutely terrific. I don't have as much confidence in Jimmy as in JT Brubaker. I mean, it's 4.49 ERA. He got crushed by the Phillies in that one start. He was labored against Baltimore in the start before that. They don't win for him. 7-14 overall, 2-11 in 13 road starts by Brubaker or the Pittsburgh Pirates. So they have just not been good on the road. I definitely like the first 5 run line here. Again, that's -0.5 with the Arizona Diamondbacks at -118. Looks to be the best price right now.
-109 at Pinnacle for you.
Oh, even better. Oh, that's a phenomenal price. Less than $1.10. Fantastic. All right, Arizona, -0.5, -109. I lean to the Arizona full game run line as well. Let me just see a Pinnacle because Pinnacle's great for looking at maybe a little bit more better value with some of these favorites on the run line here. I'm gonna go -1, -120 at Pinnacle for the full game run line. I'm gonna do a split, but usually when I do a run line split, it's -1.5 on the full game. I'm gonna be a little bit more cautious and go -1, -120 with full game run line. So there we go, run line split for the Diamondbacks for me.
Robert Franklin also on that first 5 -0.5. Well, let's see if our young Jose Bouquet will raise it here. It looks like that is a nay to the Bob. Take it away, Jose.
That's a good expression. I've never heard of it before. JT Brubaker and Merle Kelly. At one point, they were just like basically the same pitcher in my head, and it just seems like one pitcher has just gone trajectory up, and then the other one just gone straight down. For then, shout out to Cap, as he says, if you're not as a pitcher, you're always progressing or regressing. There's no like even movement. So, I would. The thing is, I just don't trust Arizona's bats at the end of the day. And Brubaker has been okay, and I would agree with it. Bobano here would be a first 5 look for me on Merle Kelly. He's been phenomenal. Pitcher of the month last month, too. You know, Arizona Diamondbacks pitchers don't win that very often. So shout out to him. But I guess ultimately at the end of the day, I couldn't get there. I looked at a Pirates team total under, a first 5 under, and minus 115 for the 1.5. And I wanted plus money ideally, but the minus 115 definitely makes me feel like it's going to be a low-scoring day for them for sure. And it seems like it's just really ultimately up to JT versus the Diamondbacks offense. So we'll see what happens there. But I definitely think Kelly goes out there and pitches well.
Yeah, I think obviously I trust Brubaker a little more than others here. And I also fear the market a lot more than other people do, and all the money being on Arizona. I mean, obviously my plan when I looked at the board was to bet Merle Kelly first 5, but I see the market move towards the Pirates, a decent market move when 90% of the cash is on the Diamondbacks, and that's enough just to keep me off and trust Brubaker here. And that angle, I keep saying it, but this angle of when the market really likes a dog, and if you don't want to back it, just trust the pitcher and take the first 5 under. If you already trust the other pitcher, has been extremely successful. It's been a huge part of this second half run that I've been on. And I am...
I tried to use that to not success yesterday with Nicholas Pivetta, unfortunately. And that was more the total, I guess, but brutalized.
Yeah, Pivetta didn't pitch poorly.
No, but I tweeted it out, the most savage camera work I've ever seen in my life. He gives up a home run, takes a knee, immediately like bites his nail, and the camera just zooms in as close as possible to Nick Pivetta's face as the ball is soaring out of Fenway Park. So, yeah.
Noli agreeing with this. Look at this. Like, look at my on this winning streak. Like, if I look at my last. So 3 of my last 5 bets are unders, not including today. Then under 7, under 4, under 3. So then 3 of my next 5 were unders, and this is including sides. And then 2 of the next 5 are unders. Then 3 of my next 5 are unders.
Have you been betting, hanging out with Noli as well? You know, the Noli virus just spreads around and makes money for people.
I tell you what, I fucking listen. I listen to the people who have been succeeding, and it's really helped. And everybody's seen my baseball record now over 5 years. It's gotten better every single year.
I believe, by the way, this is the first day of the season that you're officially ahead of me record wise.
I am not in any kind of competition. I want you to succeed very badly. So
who said there's a competition? I'm just pointing out facts.
Okay, I don't care. I want you to succeed badly, and there are 2 games left. And I want you to turn this shit around right now. The thing is that I know how serious you are taking it. A year ago at this time, I would be yelling and screaming at you, concerned that you weren't taking it seriously.
It's sickening. It's sickening how seriously I'm taking it and how bad it's been. But it's all right. It's all right. I've got a play on the Field of Dreams game I'm very excited for. Those motherfuckers took my money last year, and I'm going to fucking go get my money back from Rob Manfred. That fucking asshole. I'm going to go get my hair cut. I'm going to go shave Manscaped. Shout out to them. Promo code Pub Sports. I'm going to do all that. I'm going to go out there, grab 2 winners today at 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern, and fucking get a dub today and have my first winning day since August 4th. And it's going to happen, son of a bitch. It's going to happen.
See, I believe it. The last 2 games, the Red Sox game and the Field of Dream games, if you want Jose's take on it, you will have to watch Say Hey Plays this evening. All right. And TJ says juiced ball tonight. Well, let's get into that game last. Next up for us, 7:10 p.m. Eastern, the Baltimore Orioles 58-52, 25-31 on the road to the Boston Red Sox 54-58, 26-29 at home. We're at Fenway Park in Boston. Let's take a look at the weather. First in Boston, 75 Fahrenheit, 6.6 miles per hour right to left. When it gets up to 6.2 by the end of the game, it becomes out. It starts blowing out to left field. Take a look at the line history in this one. We have Winkowski versus Kramer, a 10-cent move to the Baltimore Orioles. We were all going to bet them yesterday, first 5 against the Jays. The total opened up at 10, went down to 9.5, 10, 9.5, 10, 9.5, 10, kept bouncing back and forth. The last move was from 9.5 to 10. So it's at 10 at a pick 'em right now. So since the opening line, there's been a 5-cent move to the under and that 10-cent move to the Orioles. So not a ton of movement, but let's see what the cash flow says here. About 15% line value, the same as for the Pirates here on the Baltimore Orioles. 71% of tickets, 87% of cash on the Baltimore Orioles. 86% of tickets, 86% cash on the over. That's a lot. There's Res Mob in the house. We've missed you, Res Mob. Great to have you back in business with us. TJ says Winkowski has allowed 36 hits, 19 runs, 6 homers, 12 walks, 319 batting average, 566 slugging percentage. Boston will need to rely on their pen as the longest Winkowski's pitched since the 20th of June is 6 innings. 6 innings. Dommy Gunricci says the correlation of me doing better and taking it serious with you, starting betting with the bag and us together is no fluke. Hitting 5 years in October. Yeah, no, I agree. Rezi says football's back. I'm back in the game. TJ says Baltimore 7-1 last 8. Boston 1-6 last 7. There have been spots like in the Braves series where there was sharp action on Boston and I stayed off, but a lot of you guys trusted the fact that Boston has given up and we're focusing on betting on a team that would put their foot down on the throat of their opposition. And you guys kept cashing and I left money on the table. And here again, I'm a little nervous, not because there's sharp action on Boston, 29% of the tickets and 13% of the cash. But for whatever reason, I don't know. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Orioles, Red Sox, take it away.
I'm on Baltimore here. I mean, it's just, to me, you're going to give me a plus price with this team, with the great momentum they have. You know, I do worry about the canceled game a little bit because they expected to play and then all of a sudden the rain delay and it gets postponed, but an unexpected day off. But no, and the one thing it does for Baltimore is it rests their bullpen. Everybody's going to be available today, including Felix Bautista, the closer. And the bullpen's been great. No, they've just got incredible momentum right now. They're 7-1 in their last 8 games. They played great baseball. They won the 2 games against the Jays. I'm worried about regression starting to hit Dean Kramer a little bit. It is concerning. He hasn't been as good the last few starts, but I think he can be good enough here. And Winkowski got hit pretty hard by Baltimore earlier this year when he faced them. The Boston bullpen, if you look at that Atlanta series, which wrapped up last night, they had to use that bullpen quite a bit. You know, especially Hill only went 4 innings. Pivetta only went 6. They had to use a lot of the key relievers because that game was still relatively close in the latter stages. I mean, I definitely think that Boston bullpen is a little bit depleted too without the day off, and I think it's a big bullpen edge late in the game for the Orioles as well. So I like Baltimore here, plus 110. I mean, to me, this is just a great price to fade a Boston team that's obviously fallen out of the playoff mix and a Baltimore team that is playing like a team that wants to get there. And I can't say enough about, we've thought Mancini traded a couple other players. Maybe Baltimore's going to fall off here after the trade deadline. It hasn't happened. Mullins has been great. Mountcastle's been great. Rutschman has been hitting the ball extremely well. One great at bat after another from that kid lately for Baltimore. They have not fallen off. They want to make the playoffs, and they believe right now. They're playing like it. So, yeah, this was the easiest decision for me to make it, to back Baltimore here as a dog. I couldn't understand the price. Wrong team favored.
Absolutely wrong team favorite. I just don't understand why the books would have put out the Orioles at plus 115 with the way the Orioles have been playing. Why would they do that? They have to know for certain that all the money would come in on the Orioles. I don't mean to sit here and think like of the hijinks that happens in gambling, but something just doesn't feel right. In Kramer's last start, that 1-0 win at home versus Pirates, he was very good. We were all on the Pirates at plus 130, and we pushed that, but he was very good in that start. And they had to know, putting the Orioles at plus 115, it would be 9 out of 10 tickets on the Orioles. They've only moved to 10 cents. They've kept them as a dog. It's all. Maybe I'm just this idea that there'd be this sort of. I don't know. Maybe I'm just. But I just don't. For the life of me, you have to think that they were like, well, we're going to put this line here. We're going to take all Orioles money. They knew that was going to happen. So it just makes me fucking uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. Christopher Comtini says they want Red Sox money. Well, it should have opened them. I don't think they want Red Sox. I don't think they care about that. And the 10-cent move is not enough for me. Alex Gagnon says, Jimmy, you got to set a money amount you want to win in each sport. When you reach that number, you either stop or lower your unit. I'll never give your units back if you hit a substantial amount in MLB. Look, Alex, I respect very much how everybody has a different way of doing things, but gambling's my whole life. All of the joy. Right now, it's just family and gambling. That's my whole life. 42. I don't go out. I don't do anything. It's just family and gambling. So I want my unit size to grow. I want my bets to become bigger, and the more money I make, the higher my unit size is going to be. And there's no mark that I'm going to hit where I'm going to sit back and not do what I love more than anything else in the world every fucking day for the rest of my life. So, but I hear it, and there's nothing wrong with having different ideas of how we do things. But I just want my unit size to grow, and I want to keep winning. And right now it's been nice. It's not been great. I mean, we talk about what your unit size has to be to earn a living gambling. I'm up 5.7 units in MLB and 5.7 units in CFL. And what your unit size has got to be $10,000 if you want to earn a living off of that shit. But I digress. Let's lock you in here for the Orioles, Bobano. And I fucking feel like something's up here, and I'm not going to move on it. But let's get you here on Baltimore, because the big difference in what's happening with the books is everybody used to say, well, they want even money on each bet. They don't anymore. There's MIT supercomputers. They're very comfortable in certain spots when 90% of the money's on one side. The game's totally changed for the bookmakers. They're not looking for that 50-50 on either side anymore. And they're succeeding enormously. So here we go. The Orioles are plus 107 here, Bobano. You wanted a full game or split?
No split. Actually, I'm going to go just full game here, plus 110, because I think the bullpen edge is definitely significant enough to warrant going with the full game here in this one. I'm tempted to add the over as well. I really think this could get there. I mean, let me just see what the current total is. Right? Is there 99.5s out there? Don't think there is. Well, actually, Caesars and Wynn have 9.5 -1. I'll pass. I'll just keep Baltimore. I do lean over. If I see 9.5, I'll have a smaller bet on that.
And Nolino says the Marlins lineup is awful, which hopefully will help our under. And Dominic Enrique says, if you think gambling hasn't changed, you're wrong. No, we've been seeing it and talking about it. And Jacksonville Zoe says the bigger choice is when do you change the unit size? I've never changed mine in 20 years. I'm due to make larger bets. I remember when we were in San Antonio, Bobano, and you'd made $1,000 bet, and I was just seething jealousy, not of a negative kind, but to be able to put down like that kind of a big bet. I'm like, oh God.
That's a rarity for me. That amount. It's a rarity. Very rare.
The biggest bet I've made all year.
That's it.
The biggest bet I've made all year is on the San Francisco Giants team total under for the season long. That's the biggest bet of the year. Oh, wow. Leadoff triple for the Marlins. Don't like seeing that. Okay. So you got the plus 110 here on the Baltimore Orioles. So what do you think of Jacksonville, though, saying his unit size hasn't changed? Because the only thing that's changed in my unit size in 4 or 5 years now is it's gone down a little bit. but my quantity of action has gone way up, but my unit size has actually dropped a little bit. When do you think it's time to change your unit size, and how have you handled your unit size through your career?
Well, it's really stayed consistent the last few. It really hasn't really gone up at all, and it's just that's the way it's got to be, especially as you see results play out the way they are. Really, you only increase the unit size when you get to it. You should always get to you should never be in a place where more than 5% of your bankroll puts you in you should only be betting, at most 5% of your bankroll with every wager. So you really only increase the unit size when you see that your overall amount in the bankroll is enough where you could make a bunch of bets in the 1 to 5% of your bankroll range and be able to sustain a losing streak, an extended losing streak, and not have to re-up. That's where you want to get to. And that's the important part of determining when to go up in terms of your per unit amount.
I like that. I like that breakdown. I tell you the angle that I'm using for the rest of the baseball season is I understand that Verlander is probably the best pitcher in the AL, but I think Gausman gives us the most value of any pitcher in the American League. And I'm doubling up on my first fives for sure. I'm not sure if I'll double up on the full games, but I just Gausman is bet on, pull out. Maybe it should be more than 2 units at some point, because the only times I've ever seen Gausman get touched this year is when he's tipping his pitches. He looks so good. Tori Coker says, I want to quit my damn job and be a great capper. This is where the real money and not slaving at no damn job, paycheck only $1,600 every 2 weeks. I get it, Tori.
It's a grind. Just be aware. This ain't this ain't like living the high life or anything like that. This is a day-to-day job. This is work. This is effort and time significant that has to go in to trying to be profitable every day. It's just make sure you're aware of that. There are definitely perks, being at home, not having to deal with traffic, doing something you love, because this is a passion project for anybody that's doing this 24/7. But just be aware, it's a day-to-day grind, this endeavor. So don't think for a second that, hey, it's going to be living the high life if you go into this full time. Just saying that right now.
No, that is true. But there are some perks, and we've felt some of them. That trip to Miami that we had was pretty spectacular. We were in an unbelievable hotel, unbelievable, beautiful, gorgeous hotel right on the ocean, capping together. We have trips to Vegas, and there's going to be more trips coming up in the future. So there are some perks. Very tough to be a pro gambler. From a pro gambler, DX Filer says, no living the high life, a lot of grinding. Yep. Saturated says, bringing your bankroll by paying rent and utilities is a big jump. Had to burn it from both ends. Yeah, that's really tough. And that's the thing. Like a lot of people, when they get a big score, they, break off a couple K to their wife. I've not done that in years, and she doesn't want me to do that. She wants me to have a big account so that it doesn't ruin our family. But, okay. Jeffrey Moore said, I played professional poker in Vegas over 10 years ago. You need a huge bankroll to survive the swings. I tried to play poker for a living, and for me, it was like 16, 17-hour days. You get to the end of the month and you're up $1,800, and then you look at how much you were making an hour, and I was like, okay, this is not working. And my friends went through the same thing. A couple of my friends tried it as well around sort of the same time, and we weren't losing, but we weren't winning enough, and it was 16 hours a fucking day, and you feel like you're almost killing yourself sort of with that lifestyle. Okay, let's get back to the final game here on the card. And DX Father says, my love of poker is waning, to be honest. It ebbs and flows. It's like a wife. There's times where you are very much in love. There's times where it's pretty difficult to be around your partner, but it ebbs and flows. And Elio's been saying the same thing. Elio lately has been saying, I'm just not enjoying it that much. But it's just like, spending the rest of your life with one woman. Professor Chris says, you're going to play poker in AC on the pub AC trip. Fuck yeah, I am. But my only concern, again, will be that I don't want to play till 6 or 7 in the morning when I want to hang out and do things in the daytime. So I certainly won't do any tournaments or anything like that. I'll just go I'll play 2-5. I'll take 500 to 2-5 with 500 more in my pocket. One of the things I did, and I know, sorry, I digress, is that I moved from 1-3 to 2-5 in the last 6-9 months because I don't get any respect at the 1-3 table. None. Zero. But for whatever reason, just going up to the 2-5 table and buying them for 500, I get, and I'm not a ton of respect. Don't get me wrong, but I get more. Quite a bit more. And it's worth it to me. It's worth it to me. If I go, I always go, I keep it straight. 1-3 table, I go with 300 buying and 300 in my wallet. 2-5, I go with 500 and 500 in my wallet. And DX5 says you can't make a living at 1-3 or lower. Tim Montana BX, his poker dealer for a living, hit 2,300 yesterday off a $50 5-teamer parlay. Nice job, Tim Montana. Let's go. And Lee Davis says Gibson's going to piss away this under. You know, I got very, very nervous when I saw that at plus 102. I know it did move 5 cents back. Oh, my God. Loaded bases with no out. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. DX Filer says, can you be profitable part-time? Sure. But if you're serious about poker, it has to be 2-5 or higher. Most places in the country due to the rake. There's a professional poker player right there letting us know that. Okay, let's move on to this last game of the card, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. And it is the Chicago Cubs at Cincinnati Reds Field of Dreams game. And as much as you'd want to put up a little, a little montage of the Field of Dreams, we don't do that here. We have a taint play of the day, Cincinnati Reds money line. We all have a bias from what happened last year at the Field of Dreams game. The ball was absolutely flying. Wine Time Sports says the ball should fly in Iowa tonight. Just scared to pull the trigger on it because the public is hammering the over. So let's talk about this spot here. Cubs, Reds, Dyersville, Iowa. Let's see what the weather is like here in this one. 78 Fahrenheit, 7.6 miles per hour out to center, down to 6.6. Let me make sure that is. They wouldn't give us the Reds weather, would they? They'll give us Iowa's weather. I'm on Swish Analytics and I'm a little nervous there. Drew Smiley going up against Nick Lodolo. Let's move over to the line history here in this one. We have a 5-cent move to the Cubs, and we have a half run from 8.5 to 9, and that 9's now minus 115 to the over, just like everybody was saying. Everybody was saying that. Tim Montana says when you come to AC, you have to show up with the guys to the game. Ideal, actually. Oh God, Tim Montana, absolutely 100%. That would be. It's just more fun when you have a connection with somebody. So I will definitely be at your game. Okay. And then DX5 says 2-5 in the long run is still going to be better. Yeah, no, I made the switch. I probably should have made the switch earlier, but I just made it last like 9 months or so. All right, Drew Smiley against Nick Lodolo. Let's go over to the cash in this game. 13,000 tickets in. 50-50 on the tickets and 51.49 on the money line. So that's fun. Then 84% of tickets on the over, but 76% of cash. So some big bets are coming in on the under. Drew Smiley's last start, 4-0 win at home versus Miami, was very good. 6 2/3, no one runs, 4 Ks and 1 walk. He's pitching quite a bit better right now. 3.97 ERA, 1.29 whip. Lodolo, on the other hand, coming off a 7-5 win at the Brewers. The Brewers don't hit lefties, but they got to him 2 homers and 3 earned runs. But I say they don't hit lefties. We had Sharpie tell us about how they have been hitting lefties for the last 14 days or so. Cubs versus lefties, 228, 696 OPS. Reds versus lefties, 247, 715 OPS. And the bullpens are poor on either side. Take it away here, Bobano, Cubs, Reds.
Yeah, I like the over here. The ball was flying out of Field of Dreams in Iowa last year. Multiple home runs. Remember, it was White Sox and Yankees. Now, it was 2 pretty good lineups. But these are 2 very suspect pitchers. Nick Lodolo has got a weird thing going this year where he's actually pitched okay in Cincy, and he's been brutal everywhere else. That's pretty much been his season so far for the Reds. I don't know if I trust him to pitch all that great here tonight against the Cubs. Cubs are hitting a little bit better, I guess you could say, the last few games. You look at the Miami series, you look at the Washington series, they scored 15 runs in the 3 games in that series. We talk about how the Reds bullpen, I have all season with the Reds where, we've talked about how that bullpen has been not great at times. So I think the Cubs can score, and I certainly think the Reds will against Drew Smiley. He's actually been okay, 3.97, but 4.5 ERA on the road. Smiley gave up 2 home runs in his start against San Francisco, and that's still an issue with him. At times is the home run ball. And you could say the same, as I mentioned, with Lodolo. He's given up 4 home runs in his last 5 starts, and in a place where we know, we've got a sample size to work with here. We know the ball was flying out of that park last year at the Field of Dreams. And if you're struggling with giving up home runs, that could be a little bit of an issue here going into this one. See, all you people panicking, by the way, everybody panicking about the bases loaded, nobody out for Miami. They didn't get squat. That's Miami right now. That's their lineup. See, Gibson pulled a Houdini act, got out of it. So there you go. I'm cheering everybody because I know a lot of people have the first 5 under in that game. So good stuff. I like the over here. I lean Cincy as well a little bit, but I like the over more. And I think for this game, I'm not going to double up. I'm just going to go with the total. I think it's a pretty clear decision for me to take it. We saw a high-scoring affair last year in Iowa in the Field of Dreams game. 2 suspect pitchers, 2 lineups that have perked up a little bit the last week or so. So Cubs Reds over for me.
Over 9. I see minus 114 over at Penny. And Preston says, I had the opportunity to work with Kevin Costner when I was 19, the Lake County Fielders.
Are they going to do that thing with him again this year? Just like they did. That was a great intro last year, but it kind of feels like you're going to go to the well again. It gets repetitive. And
I don't think
it doesn't have that same effect. Yeah.
Also, we were trying to get out of the pandemic, so it's like we needed it so badly last year. Now, if Costner comes strolling,
we're getting it. We're getting it again. We're going to get an R.I.P. Ray Liotta. It would have been Ray Liotta.
Of course.
It would have been Ray Liotta probably, and it was going to be an R.I.P. Ray Liotta thing. On God, what's your props? Over 1.5 mentions of Ray Liotta. Book it.
Yeah. There you go.
Of course. Oh, that's sad. Of course, Ray no longer with us. Let me see if I can get you a better number, and then we're going to go to the friends and family parlay here. The yes, over 9. So at least the over 9's getting bet and juiced and hammered here, and that's a good sign.
And it's already gone up from 8.5. So
yeah,
clearly there's money on it. It's big money on it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure what to do with the Field of Dreams game. I guess I'm going to be watching the fucking Alouettes and Bombers. Oh, obviously, I'll watch some of it. It's a pretty beautiful spectacle. Okay, let's review action. Jose, why don't you jump back and join us here?
That was probably the most Canadian thing I ever said on this show. Fuck it. I'll watch the Alouettes and Bombers. I'm not going to watch the Field of Dreams.
I thought he was going to say he's watching Canada World Junior, but the whole country ain't watching that. So,
well, when you, I don't even want to get into it. The things coming out about our juniors the last few years are very bad. Yeah. Did you read the text messages that was sent from the unknown hockey player, Bobano? They put them out, the text messages, and it was like heartbreaking. Like, oh fuck. So so we're pretty disappointed in Hockey Canada right now. Okay, let's go over this. So Alouettes team total under 18.5, Bombers first half -5 is what I will be moving on. Bobano's on the Ticats first half -110. And I've got to figure out what to do because I've got 3 bets that I'm interested in. And if I make those 3 bets, I'll have to cut my unit size. Argos team total under, full game under, and first half under, which is a little too much in the same spot. Spreadsheet play of the day, BC Lions -1.5. Bobano got the 2.5, but remember, he got the money line with almost no extra vig when it came out. So he's just doing that for our record keeping. He's also on the over 52.5 at -120. Then he's on the Roughriders -5.5, -110, and I'm leaning quite seriously to the under in that game. All right, in baseball. In NFL, Bobano's on the Giants -145 money line and the over 32.5 in Titans Ravens. Then when we come into baseball, Dabby Cab is on the White Sox first 5 -0.5 -118. Houston team total over 5 -110. Arizona first 5 -0.5 -120. Those are his 3 looks. Dommy Gun Ricci's on the under 8 in the Phillies game, and he's on Royals first 5 under 4 at -117. I love hearing DX talk about all this stuff, so I'm going to stop each time. When professional gamblers talk, you'll listen, and that's something that Pete has always told us. He says, last thing I'll say about being a pro poker player, you need to accept that there will be days where you make no money. And if you can't accept that, it's not for you.
I want DX Filer to come on the show, but I want him to come on the show with like a ski mask and then like a voice modulator and then just a complete like dark background. That's what I want.
I like it. I like it. Okay. Here we go into baseball. So this is us. I'm on the first 5 under 4, and so is Jose. He got plus 102. I got -110. Bobano triples up in Guardians Tigers. He's on the Tigers first 5, Tigers full game in the over 8.5. What the hell's happening over there? Anything? That is
nothing yet. Scoreless.
Nothing yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bottom first.
Well, it's good you got out of the Cleveland first 5, or first inning, so that's good. Then I'm going to bet this first 5 under 4 in White Sox Royals, so I'm going to be right with Dominican reaching on that. Jose is on the Rangers first 5 plus 228, full game plus 225. Now, did you say that those were picks here for our show, but not for your Say Hayes? Okay. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day. He said that lineups are pending. The lineups have come out. Spreadsheet play of the day is the St. Louis Cardinals for Ron Crawford. St. Louis Cardinals at -115. Then we have Gambler's First Glance is the Rockies money line at +100. So Gamblers.
Receiver, by the way, new dad.
Oh, wow. The Reaver. Oh, I got to hang out with the Reaver. We got to hang out with him in San Antonio, man.
Yeah,
nice job. The Reaver. You're going to love it.
Congrats on the sex.
No, you're going to love it. You get your partying done with in your 20s. Party hard. Maybe your early 30s. Maybe your whole 30s. And then you'll love it. Congrats, Reaver. And he's a great guy. Shout out to our guy, the Reaver. And we had a great time in that when we got to see the Spurs play the Grizzlies with the Reaver. Okay, so congratulations, the Reaver. Pimp slot play today. Phillies first 5 plus 1.5 and the under 4.5. First 5 plus 1.5 under 4.5. A parlay for Mike M at plus 125. And we have Gambler's First Glance and Ron Crawford going head to head here. Bobano's on the Diamondbacks first 5 -0.5 -109, full game -1 at -120, and I'm on the first 5 under 4 at plus 105. That was the first bet that I made today. That was the only bet I made coming into the show. Then Bobano's on the Orioles plus 110 and the over 9 in the Field of Dreams game. Taint play today, Cincinnati Reds money line -115. He's also looking at Votto props. Okay. And the Reaver says we're still going to do some partying too. Well, the only time I really booze, other than on the live shows here, is when I'm with you guys, man. That's
I was about to say, choose these words carefully because I've met you, Jim, and I've seen the booze flow quite frequently.
Yes, but that's when we're all together. I'll beat my liver up in the name of low baggers. Okay. James S says he's got you on the big screen. You look like Richie Valens.
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
La Bamba. Oh, Donna. All those old songs, no?
Give us more than that.
Yeah.
You got to give us a couple bars of O'Donna.
There we go. I had a girl. Donna was her name. There you go. Little Richie Valens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
She met me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It is time for Friends and Family Parlay. We got a couple of the legs down yesterday.
Those fucking cocksucker Yankees. By the way, I didn't say this because they had an off day. Oh, my God. Yankees fans were so hurt yesterday. That loss yesterday, ooh, it hurt them so bad. And it really pissed me off because, of course, we're a half run away from cashing Friends and Family 3 days in a row. But, ooh, did that hurt them, Oh, my God.
Go look at how the Yankees since like the start of June have played against like 500 or better teams. And look at what the wins have come against, the bottom feeders. That's that's issues. That's problems. The Yankees are, I think, paper tiger come playoff time.
So that's what Jose's been saying all year. I hope that's the case. TJ, it's way up. I haven't added this week's glory, but I believe we're up about 6 units.
Yeah, we hit two of the last 3 we've hit. And then again, yesterday we should have hit, but Yankees cost us a half run. That's the only leg that didn't hit. Killer.
Okay, let's get after it right now for the friends and family parlay. And we will start with Jose, who seems so confident. Then we'll go to Bobano, and then I'm going to figure out mine at the end. So, Jose,
respectfully, I'm going to let Bobano go first because I think I know where Bobano is going for his friends and family. And I'm excited because I think this is going to be our first cross-sport multi-leg say, hey, friends and family parlay. So I'm very excited for this. Bobano, I'd like to hear what you have first, actually.
For the friend, I'm trying to think. What's probably my favorite?
Come on, Bobano. I'll give it to you. Night. I'll give it to you if you want it because I know what it is.
All right, I'll let you try to guess what.
The BC Lions money line minus 150.
Yeah, but I think we want to have it for today, right? A game from today?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No. It's just about winning.
It's okay. So
you can take the Giants too, minus 160. Those are the.
See, we're not getting the best number with the BC Lions.
That's the good thing about parlays. We can eat that juice a little bit. I will not play.
Because I have money line, and I don't want to say -3 when I bet money line. So I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go with the G-men in the preseason tonight.
That works.
New York Giants. That's a really good side, in my opinion.
I actually had that written down as well, Bobano. I said my guesses were BC Lions or the New York Giants for you. And then Jimmy, I had no idea. I wrote down what I hoped Jimmy would pick, so I could not have to pick it. But yes, it's good. Thank you, Bobano. It's falling into place.
Yes.
Johnny Guns, happy birthday to your pops. 53rd birthday today. Can we get a birthday pick? You're absolutely right. I think that these will all be our birthday picks. These are going to be our best bets that we're going to put in the parlay and our birthday picks. Well, I guess it's a little different because for the friends and family parlay, I'm going to push the Pirates Diamondbacks first 5 up to 4.5 and take the first 5 under 4.5. Pittsburgh, Arizona, first 5 under 4.5 as my friends and family parlay for my friends and family parlay. But I guess I wouldn't never give a birthday pick with that kind of vig. So, but I think that this is a really strong parlay that we're putting together. So maybe that this should be the birthday parlay.
You say first 5 over 4.5?
No, the first 5 under 4.5 in Pittsburgh, Arizona. First 5 under 4.5. Oh, the AC trip. We're still raising funds with our buy a coffee and buy a beer. We do have some really exciting possible money-making things for us coming up here. One that we're going to be a team with in a show that Jose and I are hosting together that we'll announce next week.
Which is going to be just like, that's going to be hilarious, Jim. You're going to have to deal with me.
Let's tell you guys that one because that one's locked in. We have a Circa Millions entry being paid for that's for us in our show. So we have the entry, and then we're going to decide what 5 bets to make on Thursday at 2:00 together as a show. So that's a show on Thursday at 2:00. So Slaughter is buying us the entry, and then we will decide as a group. And if we win, everybody who's being involved, we're going to, obviously blow the money on us partying very hard.
Well, yeah, that's the AC trip. I mean, come on. And by the way, Preston also mentioned 10,000. 10,000 is the goal for the AC trip. So let's get to 10,000.
Yep.
We can start getting there and all that stuff. But friends and family, you guys gave your legs. I appreciate it. I'll be honest. I want to put the Field of Dreams game over in it. I really do. And it's tough to say. I don't know what I want to do here. And I'll be honest again. I think the Red Sox are going to win today. And I might be on the island there. And I was kind of glad, Jen, that you were feeling uncomfortable about it. It made me feel a little better about it. But I'm not going to let the Red Sox hurt me that.
Thank God.
I'm not going to let the Red Sox hurt me.
Also, by the way, that's not the big announcement. Jose and I's show with that's not the big. That's just like there's a little aperitif for you.
Palate
Oh
cleanser.
God, don't make those sounds. Jesus.
It's going to be the Field of Dreams game over 9 -120 -115ish, wherever you guys can get it. But ultimately, those balls are going to be juiced up to the fucking gills because they need some runs to get people to watch this shit bum game with two shit bum teams. So it'll be fun to watch.
There is the friends and family parlay, which we cashed. We're 1-0 with Bobano.
Yep.
New York Giants money line. Pittsburgh, Arizona, first 5 under 4.5, and the over 9 in the Field of Dreams game.
Plus 403 for me.
Plus 403 for you. Okay.
There you go.
There it is. And in the name of Johnny Gunn's father, celebrating his 53rd birthday, we will cash this friends and family parlay. There you have it. Thank you guys so much. And the one thing I can tell you about our NFL and the most consistent thing we've got going.
He's dying to tell people. He's dying.
Yeah. But was the success of Bobano and C-Mac's college football show.
Some of the stuff we did. But if you love Bobano and Connor Mack, we're back, baby, essentially this year.
That stays the same. There's a little bit of a difference on our Saturday morning, just a small little difference on our Saturday morning show.
Yeah, basically that we're not going to go past noon, which makes sense. I mean, I dragged that thing sucker way too long last year.
but it's because there's a reason why we're not passing noon.
Yeah.
And that's part of some of the huge announcements we're making. We're as a channel, we're moving in a different direction with football, very different than last year, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. And it's gonna be
lots of live betting too during football season. Terrific.
We'll let all you guys know. Okay, so
and smack talking probably.
Thank you guys so much. And we're all gonna be competing against each other.
Yep.
But we'll talk about that in a little bit. And if that's not the NFL Pub Hub, this is a bigger thing that we're doing. And that will be part of Jose and I's show. I gotta stop. Okay. Next week I'll talk all about it. Saturated, Christopher Comentini, Mike M, Professor Chris, Johnny Guns. Happy birthday to you and your dad. B-Lab 69, Mike M, Alex Gagnon, Armchair MMA, TJ. Nice to have TJ back in business. Joe Yurkovich, AJS, James S, all you guys, Tommy Gunricci, Jacksonville Zoe, Bo Jackson, Ronnie Walsek. Thank you guys. Roger that, Real Deal Prime, Dab Fence has one play, Orioles. The Gas Report, Matt Paulins, Ron Crawford. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Jose, great job. As always, you're doing a hell of a job. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. And by the way, just the last thing, Alex Gagnon saying, Jose, you might be balding. I'm 100% going to be bald when I'm older. So that is a fact, Alex. But thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, you'll be even funnier, bald.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a bald, fucking skinny shit with a big forearm tattoo, and it's gonna look hilarious.
I think that you won't be as skinny as you imagine you'll be.
I think I will be. I think I had my fat stage. I think I'm back. I think I'm back to skinny old Jose. But it's going to be a great day. And the cold streak ends today, motherfuckers. The cold streak ends today.
Thank you. From Jeff Slaughter to all of you guys. Thank you guys so much. We thank you. Alex Gagnon says French toast and sardines stay healthy. Bobano, can you close up the show with some last words and then leche us into the future?
Yeah, great job. Fun being on a Thursday instead of Friday. I'll be back on Friday, my usual day next week. So looking forward to that. Let's have a great weekend, everybody. We got CFL, NFL preseason now, MLB, tons of stuff going on. It's just the tip of the iceberg. We got lots of big plans for football season here at Pub Sports Radio. Make sure you go to that link too for the Buy Me a Coffee. Get us going for Atlantic City at some point and get that trip back up and running. So support the channel. Hit the like button as always. We appreciate it. Everyone, enjoy the games. Good luck. Cash some tickets. Leche and los bookmakers.